Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Iron Circus Geek Show. I am Kel McDonald, and Spike is at ALA at the moment and cannot be with us. So, the non binaries have taken over Geek Show.
Oh,
We have
yes.
some other members of Iron Circus staff here. We got our production and pre-press person. Hi, introduce yourself.
Hello. It's fantastic. Hello, it's me, Hye Mardikian. You may have seen me online as exploding your former Borgs. I'm not online right now because online is a lot and I have got work to do. But yes, indeed, I am the pre-press manager, production designer of all Iron Circus Comics books. I'm the one who alchemizes the digital files from being on a TIFF or PSD or InDesign screen and delivers the final book to you. So it is a fun little job. Lots of little book parts and guts that you might not think about that go into a book. That's what falls under my jurisdiction.
And then we also have our social media person who, if you've been following the Iron Circus comic Twitter or if you backed any backer kits and are seeing updates, we got Sylphy here. Sylphy, tell people about yourself.
Hello, my name is Sylphy. I read literally all of the books and then I beg you guys to take a look at them because I do enjoy them. It's my job to make things to tease you with, and occasionally you'll see the pictures that I draw. Any of the thumbnails that you've seen for Geek Show, I've been doing like doodles of whoever's the guest show person.
So
But
the
yeah,
little
I'm here to give you updates and answer emails.
the juggling robot and the lizard on a unicycle are Sylphy's drawings.
Yeah, I did both those.
Thank you for drawing me in real life. I am simply a blue tongue skink typing very hard on a computer. These keys are so big. Somebody please help me.
Once I put you on the unicycle, I really giggled while I was drawing that, by the way.
I was looking at that and I'm like thinking that's just me whenever I go to the gym and you have to like readjust the bottom, to make sure that you fit on whatever fucking Goliath was on the bike ahead of you.
Oh yeah, freaking 5'5" problems, you know?
That's
It's like
5-5 problems, and then also I think some people at the gym just switch around the weights after they're done just to fuck with the other people that come after you. There's
most
some
deaf.
there's some where it is just insane. Like the one, the leg press, where you sit down and you mostly use like, your thighs or whatever to lift up the weight. I went on that the other day. Somebody had it swapped to 400 pounds.
Oh
I'm like,
please.
who is this in Upper Queen Anne, Seattle, Washington? Not to dox myself. There's plenty of gyms
They
around
just
here,
got
but also,
them beefy ass thighs.
it's just so impressive. Like, I know realistically there are humans who have trained themselves to do this, but also I like, as soon as I see that, I start looking around. I'm like, who did this? Who's
Okay.
responsible?
But unless you can see somebody with like some like chicken, like those turkey legs that you can get at the fair, unless you see somebody with legs like that, there are some
Yeah.
liars at your gym, okay?
They're absolutely liars. That's listen. I do my healthy reps to make sure that my muscles don't atrophy from sitting and looking at InDesign all day. That's all I need.
Hi, when you're here in Portland, if you want to
Hello.
use the gym, let me know. I'm allowed to bring a guest.
Ooh, fantastic! Thank you. Yeah, it turns out the place that I will be staying at also has a little indoor gym too. But thank you, I appreciate that. Because I missed today because I was up very late doing some finishing touches.
We have
That
in the
I've been
chat
needing to
someone
take care
asking,
of.
do you check for what glass of water vibrations? Whoever is stomping around with their ginormous beefy legs.
Well, and it's funny too because the building that I go to at the gym is like obviously it's a part of an older neighborhood of Seattle, so it's like this building has been used from everything from like a ye olden school to like a ye olden bank, uh, ye olden Elks Club something. So it's a lot of like it's 2 stories. I think one has like an upper deck, and I, it's one of those places where it's like it is amazing that the staff are able to maneuver some machines up and down as they're able to. So I should actually do that though next time I like see a ginormous megaton lift setting. Just look around, and be like, who's stomping here? Who's got them gams?
You could just hear the sound of their thighs going with like
Maybe
the windbreaker pants.
who knows? Usually, whenever I do I usually go on Tuesdays, and it's one of my favorite days to go because I don't know if anybody here listens to the Bald and the Beautiful podcast with Trixie Mattel and Katya, and some faces I make while like there's nothing better than like a fresh episode to start up a gym session with. And just like whether it's something funny or whatever genre you're listening to elicits a facial reaction, as you'll like pull down something, you're like, oh, I don't know. Once I got over the self-consciousness of like being at a gym again for the first time in looks at my watch, 10 years, I was able to very quickly zone out of like any sort of concern of what people might be looking at. So now I'm just like, haha, time to find funny little lizards skittering around the gym, getting my reps in.
I
My
I'd have to like go with people. Like it's not like, oh, I'm self-conscious or I'm worried about people talking to me. I'd be so bored. Like people are like, oh, listen to podcasts. I'm like, I'd be bored and then also sore.
Fair, yeah. You just gotta zone out. Like find it. It's a combination of like what stimulates your brain while you're doing it, and then also like gets you it's like when you listen to podcasts or audiobooks while doing chores. Like I can't ever listen to a new podcast episode while I'm doing work that requires me either type an email or like relettering something, because that's text that I have to input when I'm also trying to listen to something. So I'll zone out for like 20 minutes and then clock back in like, wait, what'd they say? So it has to be something like washing dishes where I'm not engaged with something that involves writing or some other. Oh, you know what I watched actually the other day was the new Defunctland while I was
the Kid
Peloton.
City.
Which one? Oh yeah, I saw that one.
God, James Kevin Perjurer's voice is dangerous to listen to while handling weights, I've learned, because that man's deadpan ass humor style like almost took me out on the lateral pull down. He wanted to be the mayor so bad. Somebody get him a sash.
I have to make gym plans with someone or else I'll just not do it. Like it's not even like I'll be bored. It's more of like, oh, well, what if I do this other thing first? And then there's always another thing I could be doing. So I didn't start sticking with it well until I signed up for a trainer. And I literally said, like, really, this is just to force me to go, because if I don't show up, I'll feel bad because I wasted your time.
You have an obligation to somebody else. Yeah.
And that's why I go running with our buddy Kevin on Friday mornings, because it's like if I skip it, I'll feel bad.
Yeah. There's it's a buddy system. Like my roommate and I, we will go together and like we'll do our opening stretches like to start off, and then I'd go do my own routine, and then they're their own. So it's like we're not obligated to stick at the hip, but it's like, oh, because you're going, now I get to go. And also it's very nice too because roommate will let me drive their car, or they will drive up there too. So, and then also sometimes we have to go take care of our garden at our community garden patch. So it all works out. Wonder how it's doing anyway. Our garden this year looks not pathetic, but like I don't know if anybody else in chat or lives in the Pacific Northwest, specifically Washington State, but we have had definitely a January where it's like, you get 5 days of like blistering sun, and then it's like, hey, this is the weather from like the first week of March.
I know what you're
So
talking about. It's been like that over in like the Massachusetts area a bit.
yeah.
We had like 90-degree heat for
Mm-hmm.
5 days straight, and then
It got
for the
cold
last
again.
3 days, like
Yeah.
it's been like open your windows, turn off the AC and your fan, you're fine.
Yeah, like it's been like, which it's nice for us humans because it's like, aha, I get to go out during a nice day of the summertime, but everything that requires it stay above like 55 degrees or like likes warm weather has like our Armenian cucumbers unfortunately took like a skate 3 hit every time we thought that it was gonna stay warm, and like it's just like, oh, it's cold, oh, ow. So
You
they've
know,
been
now I
a
don't feel
start.
that bad about like how my tomato plant has been looking. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, am I overwatering you? It's like, no, it just keeps on having extreme heat, and then it
Yeah.
rains like heavy rain last night, like to the point that I went out in the garage and like rain had seeped underneath the garage door.
Oh no.
What?
Yeah, well, not that bad, but it was just like, ooh, it rained.
What's it like
Yeah.
to be able to enjoy outside and breathe properly?
Nice. my equivalent exchange here is if I have like a medical issue, it's gonna suck. Like
Yeah.
I'm allergic to penicillin and sulfa drugs,
Oh,
so I
no.
can't have
God.
an infection. And then I found
Yeah.
out, and then I found out recently, you know that like brown stuff that they smear on you before they cut you open. I'm allergic to
Yeah.
that too. I had like
No.
I had a cystectomy. Like, sorry, chat, for like the TMI here, and like it's like 3 little cuts in you, and it's like, cool, this will be a nothing recovery, and my skin is like, bet, like, freaking, I can't. My life is a comedy, and I am a joke sometimes. Like, it's
Oh,
that
God.
bad.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, I recently thought, until very recently, I was also allergic to penicillin. After like taking a test, but yeah, it immediately, whenever you go into a doctor and you tell them like, oh yeah, I'm allergic to penicillin, they just give you a look like, you make my fucking prescription assignment so much more complicated now. Thanks.
Miss Always Mayor gets me here, like allergy to surgical adhesive here, and they thought that it was that, but the thing is that I had like little like hives from like right underneath my chest down to like
Oof.
below my belly button, and it's like
Oh, no.
there were no like steri strips in that area, so it's got to be the other thing. But yeah, fun times when you're like, ooh, I'm so itchy in these areas. Oh, did you know pain and itchiness are the same receptor? So if you have pain and you're itchy, you don't feel anything at the same time because your body's
Uh-oh.
just like, which one do I do first?
Like, hey, what's going on in here?
Someone in chat is pointing out the bar for TMI has been set extremely high by Spike. So you could basically talk about your intestines falling out and you stapling them back in. And
Yeah, that's basically the worst thing I got right now.
The human body is amazing. You can like climb a mountain and like run a 27-mile marathon and be fine, but if you eat like a peanut, you die. That's amazing.
My body be like, don't you dare eat this rock.
I started allergy shots this week.
Ooh, how's that going?
I have to get 2 shots twice a week until the end of August.
Size.
So many shots.
That's
And
I hate needles, so
they're just
glad I'm not you.
They're just injecting grass pollen into me.
You're living every single druid's dream right now.
That's yeah.
The druid that went to college, I see.
God, that's so like, especially if it sucks too, because it's like it's something that's a buildup, so you can't like the entire build-up process will reveal itself slowly over time. It's like not anything that's an instantaneous, like getting a singleton vaccine once every 6 months, okay, whatever, but it's like that is regular, and you are, at least you're building it up over time, but ugh.
Turns out they were allergic to the nickel alloy in needles. That's so annoying. Oh my,
That's so specific.
that's so stupid specific. But also, I'm there. I'm there right now with my ultra stupid specific allergy.
I am also allergic to an enzyme in pineapple that gets destroyed when you cook it. So I am allergic to raw pineapple, but not cooked pineapple.
Well, isn't raw pineapple like?
Yes.
Something about pineapple like
breaks down
your
proteins.
lips, like,
yeah.
kind of numb?
Yeah.
Acid.
So it's the thing that does that. I am allergic to it. So on top of breaking down proteins, it's also killing me.
Breaking down.
Because it was funny because I had not had pineapple until college. And on the phone, I remember talking to my dad about it, being like, pineapple's great. Why didn't you ever give us pineapple? And my dad was like, because I don't like it and your mom's allergic. And
Inherited allergy.
That'll do it.
And
yeah, and they really set you up to just not be able to have pineapple.
And so, but I love the taste of pineapple. So like the first few times I had it, it was cooked. And then I had some raw and wanted to die immediately afterwards.
Yeah.
And then the Dark Souls noise happened.
Yeah.
You died.
Just that noise playing as you plunge your head over the toilet seat, like, oh boy.
Well, especially with pineapple too, because it's one of those like fruits that hurts you while you eat it. Like, you know, you eat too much of it, and like your tongue starts to burn, and you're like, wow, yeah, this is definitely made out of a sort of acid that it's like the fruit punishes you for eating. It's like, thanks for spreading my seeds, dick shit. All right, it's time to suffer now.
Well, now, hang on there, Hye. I've eaten a lot of pineapple, and I've never had that kind of reaction to it.
Okay, I also lived in Hawaii for almost 10 years, so...
Only mild enough that, like, maybe, like, it you know when, like, you, like, suck too hard on, like, a bottle? Like, and the very, like, inner part of your lip is a little bit sensitive. It's like that. Like, but never like that your tongue. So maybe you are mildly allergic.
Oh no! I'm not talking about like like when it's just like a average amount of pineapple. It's like yay, tasty. But then it's like when somebody gives you like half a pineapple because they don't want it to go bad on their kitchen counter, and you're like, well, I guess shit, I'm eating this entire pineapple now, and then your mouth is like, just yummy. And then also too, when I lived in Hawaii. This is a fun thing, too. Has anybody ever heard... Well, Kel, probably. Yeah. I don't know about you, but there's a thing called white pineapple. And it's actually a lot more mild than the really high sugar content yellow pineapple. It's gonna... Okay, my comparison with this is like, you know when you drink like an Angry Orchard cider and you feel your teeth starting to rot? That's what I'm talking about. It's not like pain. It's more of less... Oh my god, I feel my teeth rotting out. Like, this is not good.
I used to drink the hell out of Angry Orchard when
I
was younger. I have never felt my teeth starting to rot out of my head.
Hi. This might be related to you have bad teeth.
That too, yeah.
So my experience eating pineapple, it was fine while eating it, and then like 20 minutes later, I wanted to curl up and die, because of pain in my stomach.
Yeah, that's far different than my own thing of I don't like a lot of sugar in drinks of similar caliber.
I'm the exact same way. I prefer Diet Coke to regular Coke.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I could have it, but then, like, you drink it, and it tastes thick. I can't explain it. Like, you
Yeah,
can
see
taste
that's my
the
that's my thing with like
viscosity.
it's too much. Yeah, that's like my thing with like too sugar. Like what are beverages like that? I don't like rum because it's just too sugary. Like I like it mixed. I can't ever have it, and I know it's not typical to have it straight by any means, but like that if I have it with a Coke, I can only have like one because too much sugar just does me
what
in.
is
Not great with
your alcohol of choice, everyone here?
Ooh.
Good question. Soju.
Hi.
Oh, soju. Mine probably. I love a good beer. Love a good beer. Fuck IPAs, but really good beer. A light mead or wine, and then after that, like if I'm going to hard liquors, gin. That's my number one. Vodka to number 2, but definitely gin is like my favorite hard.
So I get hangovers really easy to the point where I frequently am hungover even if I did not get buzzed, and and I am so annoyed by that. Like I was like, I didn't even get buzzed, and now I'm hungover. God damn it. Like Hye, when you were in Portland for the Books with Pictures con, you know how we went out and I had 2 Moscow Mules. I was hungover the day after. Like,
No.
but my drink of choice is vodka because it seems like the hangovers are worse with every other kind of liquor.
Yeah, that's fair. And vodka you can use in a lot of different mixers too, so it's not like you're like, locked with just you have to substitute this with sugar or something, or cushion it rather.
If it makes you feel better, I usually actually am smoking weed because weed doesn't make me sleepy, but like alcohol does. Like if I drink too much, I am like, it's time for bed, like far before I'm like drunk, and then I end up going to bed at like 10:30 like a grandma, so I tend to like even it out rather than getting drunk.
Sylphy, I am shaking my hand with you because I also am, as I'm getting older, I am finding that I'm preferring to smoke weed more than I am to get excessively tipsy.
It's nice not having to worry that maybe I will jostle my belly too hard and have to go hang out with the toilet.
Just a little, midnight or morning greeting, like, hello, good morning. Oh, no, never mind. Bye.
Yeah, exactly.
People in the chat are saying mead is good. A lot of people liking mead. A lot of mead fans.
Shout out to all the mead heads out there.
Ellesmere, Miss Ellesmere also likes bourbon and whiskey.
That too. That's very good.
It's like I like the taste of all these liquors. It's just the morning after I don't like.
Yeah. Or like you gotta be real careful with what you're having as like food to pair it with too, because that can also affect hangovers. I've noticed.
One of my favorite meads is from a place in South Carolina called the Wandering Bard Meadery, and they have a oaked black cherry mead that is delicious. Oh my god, like I'm thinking about it now, just thinking about mead.
Yeah.
I want it now. Maybe I'll order one.
But this,
I think
this is a comic show. Let's talk about comics.
Comics.
What are some comics y'all are liking and reading?
Ooh,
good question.
I recently read through, and apologies if I am saying this incorrectly, Jeremy Sorese's The Short While.
It's Jeremy Cerise. I went to college with him.
Cerise, okay.
I went to college with him.
Oh shit, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Him and Coleman Angle were a few years under me.
Yeah, Jeremy, that book, wow. What a great... I already really loved Curveball, but it was one of those books that it's like, you you're sitting there reading it for a while, and you're like, shit, this is so good. But I'm like thirsty. I'm gonna go up and get a drink. And then every time I'd say that, I would hit a new page and be like, no, I have to read, see what else is happening. Cue to me, 300 pages later, like, just wrecked. Oh, God, I am horrifically underselling how good this book is. If you've not read it yet, go do so. I really love, like, the narrative and contextual inclusions. It's also a book that's very well typeset, too, which I very much appreciate, and laid out. Just the usage of, like, different through lines throughout the comic to create a really wonderful narrative of, like, life as entangled from two people who, we all have that question of, like, you think about, like, what your life could have been like if things had gone right, but, like, this book asks that question without having to not having to resort to multiverse, because there's nothing wrong with a well-done multiverse narrative, but it just allows the thing of, it's like, damn, what if things were different and at different times, and these certain circumstances didn't pan out, so go read The Short While. Good book. That is a book.
I'm reading Witch Hat Atelier.
It's a good one.
Which I cannot wait for them to finally get around to making the anime for it. And
did they confirm to be having an anime for it?
Yeah, there was like
shit.
one of my friends sent me an article, like, because I'd been talking about it nonstop, and was like, it's real, and then there hasn't been, like, an update since then. So, like, when updates happen, I get informed about it. I love my friends like that.
Yeah.
I'm reading that, Dungeon Meshi, and boy, I can't wait for the rest of that. I really hope that, the mangaka ends up making, like, a second story within that universe, because I would really love to see some more, like, lore building around, just the world and everything. As for, like, our stuff that's been keeping me gripped is, like, anything Evan Dom writes.
Because he's real good.
He's so good at keeping you gripped until, like, the last page.
Makes good shit. Last delivery. What a fantastic ending.
Evan makes that good shit. We got people in the chat saying that they're one of them is reading Death Note.
It's never too late to read
yeah,
Death Note.
never too late to read Death Note.
Yeah.
And then
Never a
folks
bad time
are
to read
excited
Death
about Ranma 1/2 remake. And
this is reminding me that Black Butler got another season.
Oh, I've heard things from friends who have been watching it, and good news, it's just as unhinged as the original iteration.
Incredible. Oh, don't worry, I won't be spoiling Last Delivery. Anything that we advertise on, like the Twitter and the Blue Sky, like, those pages get picked by me. I specifically pick pages that will make you interested but not spoil what's going on.
Yes, you are always been very good about that.
And then you've both read and helped me with my things. So I'm glad that Hye is doing the pre-press for my Murky Water book that I kickstarted. And Sylphy was posting all of my City Between pages on my social media. And I'm glad that both of you enjoyed it and sent me, like, messages about how you enjoyed it while you were working on it. 'Cause
yeah, it was a really, like, I very much enjoy your world building for, like, City Between stuff, and this one was absolutely no exception to that.
Thank you.
I just love Connor. I love to hate to love Connor.
Love that guy.
Connor
Love that.
is
Connor, get out of my house, Burke.
Connor is so fun to write. 'Cause he's horrible. That's all my favorite characters are the characters that are horrible.
It's the best part. We love the heel.
I've gotten multiple people being like, "Am I supposed to like Connor?"
Congratulations, no.
if you're a good person, No.
Well,
if you're
the
a
thing-
goblin like us, yes.
The thing is like, I didn't intend, like, I'm not trying to make people hate him, but also not trying to make people like him. So he's just him.
Yeah. He feel for what you do with him in his circumstance, he feels very believable, and
Yeah.
sometimes that can be hard to do with, law enforcement characters, especially without making them like, rubs my hands. How can I be a dick to the entirety of society? You're very methodical and planned out when it comes to Connor and what drives him and his agencies and like his life beforehand, and you do a very good job with it.
Thank you. I work very hard.
Yeah, he has a good balance between, like, actually law enforcement and then the things that we don't entirely like about law enforcement while still being, well, he is trying to, like, be a, like, person of authority that, like, keeps the peace in a way, too, even if he has his own flaws. It's a good, mix between.
Did we lose Sylphy?
Oh.
Nope.
Sylphy?
I'm still here.
Okay.
Sorry.
You cut out or trailed off.
Oh. No, that's fine.
I'm excited to get back to writing him. He gets one scene in Glass Diamonds, but then he is a bigger part of the next story.
How many do you have written ahead already?
I don't write them ahead. I have outlines, and then I do scripts based on which outline comes together first. I have Glass Diamonds all outlined, and I have, I think, like 70% of the one after that outlined. So I know that Connor's going to be in that one. And then anything beyond that is various stages of vague idea, and I thought of some cool scenes, but I don't know how to connect them. But yeah, so Glass Diamonds is going to be about Rebecca again. And then the one after that is called Brittle Beast, and that is going to be about Jeff, but Connor is in it. To contrast Jeff. Jeff is legitimately a good person. To contrast Connor being a shithead.
In contrast, Rebecca being anger.
Yes.
And
in contrast to
and no
Rebecca.
patience.
The answer to every Jeff problem is empathy. And Jeff has that in spades. So he's a nurse for a reason. Because he's good at taking care of people.
Gee, how about that? Empathy helps in situations where you might need a different perspective.
Yep.
And I'm excited to see him interact in a situation that requires that with Connor, if anything.
Oh yeah, no, Connor's gonna make it worse.
Yippee!
That's why he's there, to make things worse.
I'm on my unicycle and I'm honking my little bike horn.
Beep beep.
This little clown horn.
Out of my way. Come on.
I'm now sitting here wondering if Spike will ever have a Blockada book put out.
A what?
A what?
Blockada is the thing that she's always drawing on Geekshow.
Oh.
But the thing is when she put out Templar Arizona, she redrew a bunch of it before putting the book out. Like, not individual pages, but she's like, I could do this expression better.
Oh, one of them.
like
okay.
over and so I'm sitting here wondering if Spike will ever get far enough in Blokada to put out a book, but also will she go back and redraw everything like she usually does?
Well, considering that I got an email the other day about something, wondering more about Templar Arizona,
Oh.
might have to strong arm her into doing both.
No, she's done with Temple Arizona. That's never happening again. Sorry everyone, Spike's never touching it again.
If you complain hard enough, she might.
No, if you give her $10 million, then she'd go back to it.
We could make it a stretch goal on for the other one for fulfilling that.
Yeah, like make like one of those like impossible like Patreon goals.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
Patreon
exactly.
got rid of goals. I got so annoyed that they did that.
That's it. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Cause one of my Patreon goals is like, if my Patreon gets this much, then I'll update City Between more.
Hi, I'm Sarah Koenig.
That's spam. So hanging up.
Scary.
But yeah, so it's I was gonna have one of my Patreon goals be that I will update City Between more, or update You Are the Chosen One more. And then they got rid of those goals, and now I have to make the decision to do that on my own.
Effort.
Yeah. Someone is saying that
I know.
Blokada is Ben hallucinating wildly as he bleeds out in the hallway, and you can't convince me otherwise.
Oh my god.
For those of you who don't know, that's basically the stopping point of Templar Arizona. Ben got mugged, and Templar Arizona no more.
Yeah, I think I've always read like bits and I've never actually sat down and read the whole thing. Yeah, I still need to do that.
I just got it in the mail, so I can do that tomorrow.
Books in mail?
Yeah, I got so many books in the mail.
Sylphy and I got on a voice call, and I basically went through the entire Iron Circus catalog and said, "Do you have this? Do you have this?
Yeah, you got this one?
Do you have this?
Nah. You got
Do
this
you have
one?
this?
Nah.
Do you have this?" So I can tell you that there are about 60 books that Iron Circus has put out.
Publishing The Strange and Amazing since 2007.
I took a really nice photo of them all in my, like, one of the walls in my room has a big set of shelves that I've been storing video games in them, because that's the kind of person I am, okay? But now I have books to store in a bookshelf. Yay!
I was once watching Gem in the Holograms with a friend, and there is an episode about how one of the villains can't read, and I made a crack about how I can't read because I'm too dyslexic, and said friend I was watching it with was like, "You have 3 bookshelves full of books. What do you mean you can't read?" And then I was like, "Those are all comics." And then they actually looked at my bookshelf and they were like, "Oh, yeah, they are all comics."
Odd.
I'm very bad at reading. So I mostly audiobook it.
See, that's the opposite. I don't do well with audiobooks. Ooh, cool bookshelf. You see that now. I don't do well with audiobooks at all. And reading is my thing with reading is just I need to find time in order to like sit my ass down and do it, because I am a very both busy person, and also I am unfortunately one of those workaholics who it's like, oh well, if I'm sitting I could be tinkering on this or whatever, so I really have to like making my like I'm currently reading the first book of Dune for the first time, so it's like I need to have like a Benny Gesserit come in my room and be like, go read this book right now.
You're reading Dune? Oh, man.
It's so wow, this book, I get why people are into it. This
Oh,
shit's good.
I
It's
did not
really
like
good.
it.
It's
I did
thick.
not like it.
Really?
Yeah. I basically came away from it like I'm not interested in space eugenics. I also, how far into Dune are you?
I'm like they just arrived, like they just are like getting used to the place where they're at on Arrakis, and freaky grandma has entered.
Oh, okay.
So not that freaky grandma.
So you're not that
Other
far.
freaky grandma.
So I don't. Do you care about spoilers?
I am fine. How is chat with spoilers?
It's a really
How are we on
old book,
the
and we have established that anything older than 10 years is fair game spoiler wise. So that's so if you don't want spoilers for Dune, it's been out forever. So
only real
It's got
Dune
2
heads
movies.
listening.
yeah, no, it's got 3 movies, Sylphy, and a mini series,
and a miniseries.
So the thing I didn't like about it is no one has any feelings. Everyone is like, everyone is just like, we're gonna do the most logical thing. So it's basically he sees a vision of the future where he's married to the character played by Zendaya in the movies. And he says to her, I saw the future and we're married in the future, so we should get married. And she's like, that makes sense. Let's do that. And that is their quote-unquote romance. Like, him being, I saw the future and we're married in the future. And she's like, yep.
Okay, I will say, in related earlier discussion regarding spoiler talk, how do we feel about, and this also applies for chat, how do we feel about spoilers for the newest movies?
The movies have not been out for over a year. So
very long. Yeah. So that's why I'm like, okay, so
I know that it is different in the movie.
Yes.
And
but also,
oh, okay, finish your thought, sorry.
Oh no, no, you're good. So my thing is, without getting into spoiler territory, for people who did not like the original Dune, but still were like intrigued maybe about the world and its setting and its, chess pieces that the whole space eugenics and this empire runs upon, I say try the Villeneuve movies, because they're kind of they're at a junction right now where they're pulling a rebuild of Evangelion thing, where they're, obviously like starting off on following the original plotline pretty carefully, they're going by the numbers and such, and then this most recent second one really starts to kind of, throw some more stuff in the kitchen that was maybe not there previously, and by the end of it, it has, like, it's at that junction point where it can really do something interesting with the source material and either, I wouldn't say improve it, but build upon elements that maybe are taken into a better, more modern, not even updating, but, like, has, like, the ability to give Chani, like, more of a character, and her more active player in the story.
And Net Fisher is saying, I hated how definitive their belief systems were. Like, everything is just true and there's no question. And so to also go with the no one has any emotions, the end of Dune, he kills the guy that's in charge of the planet, and then he in front of that guy's daughter.
Artillery.
And then he
Brilliant
turns
choice.
to her and he says, "So, I'm taking over because I've killed your dad, but to prevent a civil war, we should get married. But I'm also already married to this other lady, so you need to be cool with that. We cool?" And she's like, "Yes, that all makes logical, perfect sense. Even though you just murdered my father in front of me, I will go, I'm in favor of this plan." Like,
Honestly, so the reason, for context for this, the reason why she's completely cool, like, yeah, that works, is because for the entirety before that, she was trying to figure out how to work around her dad as an obstacle, and he
Yeah.
kind of just removed him, which puts her in the position of power. So she's like, cool, yeah, I'll go with that.
but there's no emotion in the scene. Like, you just gave her more emotional motivation than the book does. Like, and it was something my takeaway from it was, this is why Star Trek never writes a book that's all about Vulcans.
Well,
You're right.
Smiles. You've put a quarter in my Trekkie jar.
Yeah.
And have activated the dancing fool.
Okay. Fable wants to join us in the NB takeover.
Yeah, get Fable in.
Oh, hello, Fable.
I'm going to add Fable.
Why will you not link to my other funny little text boxes? You were so strange. So strange. Sorry for everybody at home, because I'm not streaming on InDesign. I am working currently on a Star Trek related project, actually, as you speak this.
Fighting with Adobe out here.
Yeah, well, it's for some reason my story box is well. But anyway, it's a
keep going. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just saying it's a collaborative storytelling thing about Wolf 359 and all the ships from that. But see, the thing that going back to Dune.
Yeah.
I understand. Like, I get what you're saying about there not being any emotion, like, at least in like a human reacting sort of sense, because it's all very analytical, like in the way that Frank Herbert writes. I still think one of my favorite scenes so far is definitely I forget his goddamn name, but the human computerman that works for the Harkonnens, and they're all like yucking it up about how much they're gonna blow over the Atreides' house, and it's like the delight that is unspoken. Oh, hello, people.
Hi. So, what's happening?
We're talking about Dune.
We're talking Dune.
We're still talking about Dune.
You're still talking about Dune.
Yeah.
We got off the topic of Dune, and then Hye was like, "But let's bring it back to Dune."
but like,
I'm just saying. Okay, my last note I'll make about it is just like, if you did not enjoy the book, that's why I'm interested what the new 2 Villeneuve movies are doing, and then to see what they might be able to do with the third movie, because they're at that junction point that the ending of a Rebuild of Evangelion 2.22 was at, where it's like, okay, you have the opportunity to take this series and like this pre-established plot into somewhere really cool that the show and or previous material was not able to or just didn't. Or you could blow the shark all the way to the goddamn moon and end up with something like 3.33, which I do not like the movie.
And I think, so this is the other thing, is I think, and this is something that I think is common for a lot of sci-fi writers at the time,
yes,
is that they're so obsessed with being quote-unquote logical and rational that they're writing all this world building and forgetting about the human element and human emotions.
True.
And I think that is a giant flaw in a lot of these books. And really the only writer of that sort of time that I think got away with that was Asimov, mostly because he was writing short stories, so there wasn't time for people to have emotions.
Yeah.
Well, Clark did a decent job. He's post Asimov, but Clark also had a little bit of the mythical, like, tinged in his work though. But he also had that hard sci-fi quality that everybody like lauds. But,
Yeah.
you can't say that his stuff wasn't creative.
Yeah,
For
Nat
sure.
Fisher is saying
Yeah.
emotions were woman things, and
Yeah.
I mean, granted, Clark was not amazing at writing people, but at least his concepts were pretty damn interesting.
well, so
Yeah.
so my
Yeah,
complaint
yeah,
about
yeah.
Dune is that no one has any feelings.
There's.
I mean, when I was
don't
reading
know.
it, I get you. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's yeah. I mean, a little bit. I read Dune a long time ago though, so I don't really have a current take on it. I haven't seen the movie in forever, and I haven't seen any of the
I fear
any
tales.
material.
I do like Bradbury. As I really like Something Wicked This Way
Bradbury.
Comes.
Yeah.
And Stars Hydra
Bradbury
Fire is partly inspired by Something Wicked This Way Comes.
Oh, she really?
Yes. Specifically in Something Wicked This Way Comes, there is a line about the two main boys. And it says that they were throwing rocks at the window of an abandoned building. And
Ouch.
how they influence each other is because so and so was there, the main character threw one more rock than he would have if he was alone. And because the main character was there, the other kid threw one less rock than he would have if he was alone.
So it evened out into
Yeah, so it's
no
like,
difference
so
whatsoever.
the main character is a good influence on his friend, but his friend is a little bit of a bad influence on him, and they're both better off because of it. So, and so I was like, I would like to have that type of relationship, but about girls, and that was the start of Stars Hydra Fire.
Wow.
I like that.
That's very cool. I did not know that.
Yeah, so I do really like Something Wicked This Way Comes. And that is all about, like, feelings about growing up and...
Yeah.
I like it when we discuss society through feelings, because I feel like that's a really important thing, that...
Well, it's hard to write a story that's like sans feelings after.
Well, Dune exists.
Okay, come on.
Hard to, not impossible. Hard to. Like,
Fear is
there's
the
so
mind
many
killer,
kind
though.
of fiction stories that are just absent of any kind of human connection, and like you have to have a really interesting premise to get away with that.
And
Yeah. If
Otherwise, it's
anything,
gonna be boring as hell.
yeah. If anything, like, not to be the tiny lizard on my soapbox, waving my arm in a comical fashion, but I will say one of the things about Dune is that it's less to do about being about emotion, and from what I'm reading in the text, there's some very poignant, like, moment. Like, it constantly talks about characters being able to clock emotional, like, reactions in people, and, you know, characters, like, talking either mentally to themselves or the narrator, you know, in third person, being like, this is this relationship that he cares very deeply for her. It's a lot about a book that talks about how emotions are choked out for the sake of continuing this very sick society. You know, and
Yeah.
honestly, okay, maybe this because my tangential interests very much overlap, but it reminds me of reading like Dark Souls flavor text on objects, or like you know, where you see something where it's like Earl of shitfuck loved so and so much he carved this stone out of his own ass in a beautiful, you know, like
What you're suggesting is maybe Dune would be better experienced as a walking simulator. I kind of like the idea, like Mist-like. You're just like walking around, you find like evidence of this past story. the God
Yeah.
Emperor of Dune, like walking around some caves around Arrakis.
It-
Kind of
it-
cool.
Shaking my big
trying to,
worm sign
like-
bag.
I'm trying to remember the point of it all in Dune, and I feel like it's literally just cause space travel,
It's
like
a continuation of Empire. It is
Yeah.
like the sort of like, you know,
The ways
how
in which
much
people
a society.
justify authoritarianism for supposed greater good, but at what
Yes.
cost, you know?
yeah.
And, like,
Exactly.
The justification of the God Emperor was, if I don't do these things, then something worse will happen. But at
Yeah.
the same time, the things he does is really, really bad.
Right.
Yeah.
and
I guess
it's
there's at least a point to it in its case. So
there's very much a point, yeah, and it
Yeah.
showed like all the emotions that people feel. It's like it is there's this constant like choked out like
yeah.
you will repress these emotions and whatever you may have done for your own personal freedom to express those emotions for the sake of whatever X responsibility you have. Like it would be at
that
home
was
with like a
big
fucking
thing with the witches, like, and the whole it was like, oh, you know, if you get pregnant and you are gonna have a boy, you have to
Yeah.
you have to make sure it's not actually gonna come out a boy,
Yes.
otherwise you would be in trouble. And then this one lady's like, fuck that, I want a boy. 'Cause
Yeah.
I like my husband. And then they're like, well, now you fucked everything up. But then that turns out to be how the chosen one comes to be. But it's like, how much of this is actually just like the result of you know, repressing people so badly that you
Right.
you end up like creating the future that you are both aiming towards but also don't want to have happen.
Yeah, but yeah, then on the other hand, the same lady goes ahead and gets pregnant again and like drinks the blue goo
Oh,
like,
yeah, I love that blue
while
goo.
she's
It's
pregnant,
weird,
and
yeah.
then her baby ends up like being one of those witches, but like
Yeah.
6. So
Sophie,
it's
tell
like,
me you
you
don't
know,
wake up every
also
day and
she
drink
just
your blue
makes
goo?
bad choices.
It's true, yeah. There's a whole lot of that in Dune, of just basically like control, methods of control.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I like
That
the
towards the end,
the flip in like imagery, not to talk about like the movie from the 80s that
Oh
what's
my
his
god.
name was
Oh my
in.
fucking god. It's so weird reading the book and then thinking about the movie. Like it is
It got
it's so
introduced
funny.
to it by the movie. Like my parents were into that. They were into that. They were into Mad Max. We had a cat named Walker after Captain Walker, the guy that like they all like worshipped in Mad Max for a bit in one faction. Like all of these really shitty movies, I love them. Like they're beautiful.
And okay,
to me.
Sophie, you
Very
said
unfortunate.
Captain
my
Walker.
dad was really into 2001, and he was like, okay, you're going to read this book and then watch the movie. And
No. What happened was my
the book
parents-
does explain things way better than the movie.
that
It's true.
implies
The
that
movie
I
was
want
fine.
anything
Yeah.
explained to me at all. I love having no damn context when I'm getting like thrown
Well, you're
into
getting
a
that
world. I
2000
love that. Okay, I love being like.
No
well,
thoughts and
okay,
loving
so
life.
so this is a thing about 2001: Space Odyssey, the book versus
Yeah.
the movie, is some of the things that are symbolism, like, because they're not explained, the symbolism ends up being a different message than what was intended. So you have the part where the monkey throws the bone up after doing a murder, and then it transitions into the space station, and a lot of people see that and think of it's look how far humanity has come with its science. But what is not explained and is not clear in the movie is that space station is actually a nuclear laser. So really, that transition should be humanity gets progress through violence.
wait, it was a space laser?
Yes.
I must not have seen the movie in a while. I thought it was
Well, no, the movie doesn't make that clear at all. That is said in the book. So
No, oh, you're right.
so
Yeah.
so yeah,
The book
so
also
so
goes
the
into a lot more
movie
detail with
yeah, so the movie
Yeah.
like a lot of people the takeaway was look how far we've come when the intention was we progress through violence. And whether or not you agree with that statement, the fact that he did not clearly say it is more of a problem than.
Did you guys ever read the sequel, 2010?
No.
There's a movie, but it doesn't matter. The apparently Clark liked the idea, so the movie was developed at the same time as the book was being written. So it wasn't like the book 2001 came out and then the movie came
Yeah,
out.
no, they were written at the same
It was
time.
actually- yeah, they were written at the same time because they optioned a short story that he had written about like a monolith. It wasn't quite the monolith; it was something else that was found in the moon. I think it was like a pyramid or something. And they were like, "Oh, this would be a really cool movie." And Clark's like, "Yeah, I'll expand that into a book, and you, Kubrick, you can work on the screenplay, and we'll like talk to each other." And they ended up diverging. Like originally in 2001, the book they go to one of the moons of Saturn. What's the one that looks like an eyeball, where it's like white with like a dark spot? Fuck, I forget the name of it. God, I have to look it up. But they originally go to a moon of Saturn that was like really unusual looking, like in real life. Like it's just like this very bright moon with like a dark spot on it, so it kind of looks like an eye, and that's what Clark was going after. But apparently, they didn't want to explain like orbital mechanics to the audience and like how a gravity slingshot works. They're like, let's just go to a nearer planet, fuck it. And Kubrick decided to send the travelers to Jupiter and find the monolith there, not on one of the moons, but just like floating off in space. And Clark ended up liking that idea so much that he just totally changed. He retconned 2001 entirely when he wrote the sequel to be like, yeah, now they go to Jupiter instead, and then they find another monolith like on Europa, and like the space aliens decided to change Jupiter into like a star so that Europa has enough warmth that it becomes watery and productive, and that life can evolve there because they're gonna do this experiment like all over again. And they tell humanity, they're like, hey, you can have all these other moons, we don't give a shit about this, just don't touch Europa. And that becomes the dynamic. And I remember really enjoying reading 2010 because the aliens are more prominent figures. They're less of I mean, they're still like mysteriously other, but the whole thing with like the guy ending and becoming like the space baby, and then you get to see
it's full of my god, it's full of stars.
Yeah. But
It's really
they made
interesting
a movie
'cause
and they didn't have Kubrick on it, so it didn't matter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's he didn't get the same
Yeah.
pull as that.
It's like it sure is based on a book, is what it felt like when I watched it.
I've been watching Hitchcock movies with Hye and I's friend Iris, who is recovering from surgery. In high school, I read Alfred Hitchcock's biography because a psychology class I took, our assignment was to read a famous person's biography and then psychoanalyze them using one of the schools of psychology we had studied. But reading his biography, there's a part where he says, if you're gonna make a movie, adapt a bad book. Because
It's true, because nobody's gonna criticize you for it.
yeah, because
Yeah.
then if your movie's bad, it's the source material's fault. You weren't working with something good. But if you do make a good movie, then it's all you. And I'm like, that's such a shitty thing to say about the stuff you're adapting.
Yeah,
He's not entirely wrong though. He's just like, I could do a better job, and then he does.
yeah, where there's a difference between saying, yeah, fuck this book, but also I know I could like steal its concepts and do better, versus like having a book that maybe that like wasn't that great that you had read, but you had seen, like a gold panner had seen flecks of possibility
Yeah.
and
And you're like,
potential
what,
there, and you're like, oh, let me take this medium that I know that I enjoy and this thing that I draw inspiration from and see what alchemizes out of that.
Because
it is very it makes a lot of sense for Hitchcock to say something in such like a shitty ass way though, because
Yeah, really.
that guy. If you've heard anything about this guy's like style and everything, he's just like
he's a horrible
walking sexual.
He was a horrible person. We were watching The Birds, and we did discuss how he threw birds at that actress for 2 weeks.
Yeah, he was really good at planning movies also, which is probably why his films were as tight as they were. Apparently, he was able to like not even be on set, and everybody else could just work because he was just like, do this, and he would give them like a much tighter script notes and boards than was normally expected of directors, especially at the time. But yeah, he was kind of a motherfucker, and I took this course at USC, which was all about Hitchcock, and it was run by this guy who was just like, I shit you not, this man wanted so badly to suck Hitchcock's cock, and
Suck
and,
that
like,
Hitchcock.
It hits that cock.
the head of the club of people who was all about this guy. He's like researched the fuck out of this guy. He's made friends with the family. I'm pretty sure he curses his own age because he was born too late to have met the man personally. And boy howdy, I think that guy would have loved to ride Hitchcock.
But
he would wax on and on about the horrible things that Hitchcock did in class. It's just like, oh, that cat.
Well,
oh,
it's like because we were watching The Birds.
I learned a lot.
Like, we were watching The Birds, and in The Birds, it is not explained why the birds go crazy.
No.
But The Birds is based off a book, so I looked up, like, what the book, and the book is like, the tides did it, and it's like, that's a really stupid explanation, and not explaining it is much better.
Yeah.
So, like, global warming?
That was what I kept joking was the reason why, because that's the reason in Birdemic. Have you ever seen
everybody's favorite environment?
Have you ever seen Birdemic, Sylphy?
Oh, it's great.
Is this one with like a really crappily chopped in animations for birds?
Yes.
Then yes.
If somebody very much wanted to make a movie and they had no idea how to make a movie.
Well, it's not just that they wanted to make a movie, but they also wanted to get the message out that global warming is bad.
There is a point to the movie, it's true. And it's like, I mean, it's kind of weird that the birds decide to murder everybody because global warming, but okay.
They should.
I love, like, the thing that, like, the acting quality, Sylphy, in this movie, I kept waiting for the main character to say, and that's why I went to ITT Tech.
Yeah.
He meets his love interest, and they go on a date to see a movie, and the movie they see is An Inconvenient Truth. And we know that that's the movie that they saw, because as he walks out of the theater, he goes, wow, an inconvenient truth. Who knew global warming would be such a danger? And he says it exactly the way I did. Like, that's the exact cadence.
He says it in a, wow, we really love our lemon tree kind of way.
See, my favorite part of that movie is always, like, the side quest that they have where they go meet the dude in the woods who's, like, been living there, and they have, like, a moment where they're all terrorized by a cougar.
That hippie man who that hippie man who lives in the woods, the birds don't attack him because he is against global warming. Yeah,
he ain't causing the global warming. He's living in the woods.
The birds have tracking on your carbon footprint.
Yes, exactly.
I wonder, where's the guy who made Birdemic? Where is he now? What's he up to?
He made Birdemic too. And he kind of knows that it's a joke. Like, right before I moved to Portland, some friends of mine went to a showing of Birdemic that the director was there.
Oh.
And he was like, he doesn't seem to care that people think the movie's bad, but he wants you to know that global warming is a danger. And he goes, you may laugh while the movie is running, but when you go home, you'll think about the message. Those are his exact words. Like,
You know,
warming.
He wants to make his
I
own
want
movie
him.
truth, but he's going to conceive of it through the birds, where he might have read the book instead.
No, he's genius. He's like, yes,
Yeah.
make fun of me, throw the
You know what?
tomatoes at me, but
I
think
want-
about global warming.
And if he's not a awful person like Tommy Wiseau.
yeah.
Have you seen any of Tommy Wiseau's?
Oh my god, Tommy
Yeah,
was
he is
so
unfortunately-
it's like asking me if I've watched Neil Breen movies. Oh my
Yeah.
I was
God.
just
So,
okay,
I mean,
Sylphy. I was
sure,
just about to
but have you
say.
seen his other stuff?
Seen Neil
you
Breen
seen,
movies, and almost none of them of my own consent. It's just, oh, Sylphy, this is
seen-
what we're watching today.
The
More
show,
Breen.
which is basically like he found like an apartment full of porn actors and had them in his comedy sitcom thing, and it's like, oh no, this is so much worse than The Room. Have you seen that?
I can only imagine, especially knowing Tommy
watched
Wiseau.
that
He is it's
Yeah.
a piece of work, if any.
Oh,
But like,
yeah.
God, following up Sylphy, I want to put the director of Birdemic and Neil Breen in a room
Oh
and
my
just watch what
God.
happens. I
Yeah.
don't think Neil Breen would ever collaborate with anybody on anything, not out of like pure dickery, but because Neil Breen cannot conceive of another man being on his directorial level as Neil Breen. Because in Neil Breen's world, there is only Neil Breen. And
There's
the story
only
that-
Neil Breen and people with tits. That's all that, like, that's all he cares about. If he hires guys, then he can't hire another woman that he can be weirdly close to.
Double Down is literally one of my favorite movies to watch while stoned. It is the funniest shit.
Hi, give it to me. Where can I find it?
Yeah.
I think, honestly, go look it up on YouTube. I'm like 99%
what's it
sure
called?
it's just out there. So the story of Neil Breen is that he used to be a Las Vegas real estate developer who got a shit ton of money from, being a housing contractor. And then one day in the early 2000s, he was like, I want to make movies. And he started off with his fantastic cinema film called Double Down, following up with I Am Here, ... now, and then Fateful Findings, which I think is the most famous one of him, but this man is like...
Is this Double Down? Is that the one where like he is like traveling in a car through the Southwest and oh god, I have like a Vegas recollection of this now.
Maybe. I'm not sure. This is the... I'm looking up Neil Breen posters now.
This
It is
is
the
really where
funniest.
this combo has gone.
Double Down, Twisted Pair. This might have been something my good friend Alex Stamos might have made me watch, because he, like me, is really into just terrible movies. Like
Have you watched the
Jeffrey
Fatal
Hall?
Four-Way on YouTube?
I've not, no.
Oh my god, I'll have to show it to you because it's got like really butt rock music in the background. Those four dudes like pretend to fight each other. It's so good. I love it.
You guys ever watched any of the oeuvre of Godfrey Ho? Like, Godfrey Ho might be one of the most prolific filmmakers ever.
I haven't. I'll have to look
I've
into
not,
those.
no.
He has made such films as Ninja Terminator, Robo Vampire, Undefeatable, Ninja the Protector, Golden Ninja Warrior, Ninja Dragon, Lethal Panther. He's like a dude from Hong Kong who ended up moving to the US, and he would take his own movies and splice them into new movies with like American actors. Like if you recall
Genius.
watching
Is this like Kung Pao Under the Fist level?
I was
or...
literally about to
This
say.
sounds okay.
Yeah.
One of my favorite sound effects on my Discord board is the woman going wee wee wee.
Do you have that?
Yeah.
Oh god.
If you like Kung Pao Enter the Fist, you should probably watch Godfrey Ho. You'd be like, oh, that's where this is from. because
I feel like
that's where it started. It was
that
Godfrey
name
Ho.
sounds familiar. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, there's no way you've watched if you've seen anything like Red Letter Media or any kind of like geeky movie, like people who love B movies, they must have mentioned Godfrey Ho at some point.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's one of those in the greater ecosystem of that genre of film.
It's brilliant. It's got like guys getting murdered by a little toy robot, and it's like taken seriously. It's like, oh no, it's a ninja robot. And it's like beep 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 beep. It's one of those little tin toys that flash. Like they just grabbed it at a toy store, and they're like, yeah, good enough.
This'll do its job. It's got a gun. That's
Yeah.
scary, right?
Yeah, it's fine. This is good. I love bad movies. You learn so like you have to love movies to watch bad movies and appreciate them. Like
Yes.
you can trash them, but just the appreciation for the craft becomes just that much more apparent when you watch movies that just fail fundamentally at something core. And the way that they fail is not because we're trying to be funny, but in a way that it's clear that this person doesn't know how to edit, they don't know how to
Yeah.
sound design, they don't know how to direct people, they don't know how to make sets, anything like that. And it makes you aware of how much goes into filmmaking, like how much you have to like stitch together and
Yeah.
to make something competent, let alone incompetent. Like if you want to make something great, it takes like something else.
You know
But,
what? That's
oh my
it's a
God,
reason
bad
why
movies are stand out.
that
Yeah.
that's a reason why I love the Garth Marenghi Dark Place features so much. Because
Oh my god, I love
Ah!
so much.
because on top of being absolutely hilarious, they are somehow inceptioning able to do those things in cinema where it's like, they have a weird angle shot, or like the
Yeah.
ADR is really fucked up, or
It
like
is a send up to every bad decision that the crew has probably been told that they must do because some idiot is behind the camera. Like everything about that is just like somebody is having a great time. Like the random instances of like screen direction just being wrong, but in the specific way that makes it the funniest fucking thing ever. Or,
I
like-
recently found out that one of the funniest bits in the Dungeons and Dragons movie was improv, because the guy playing the paladin didn't hear them say cut. Because there's a part where he's walking away and he's just walking in a completely straight line. And they're like, he's just walking in a straight line. There's a rock in his way now. Is he gonna, he went over the rock. Like, he didn't go around the rock, he just, like, went over it. Like, and it was because the actor didn't hear them say cut. And he's like, I just gotta keep walking.
Highly recommend anybody into making movies watch bad movies. Please watch bad movies. Watch them with your friends who love movies, because they're gonna like pick up on like exactly why it's funny. Especially, it's not just the worst thing a movie could ever be is boring and just competent enough that it's just dull and nothing. You don't remember a damn thing. It's the worst thing a movie could be. I would rather have a film made with passion that just completely misses the mark in
That
the
sounds
funniest way
like-
possible than just that was a movie, I guess.
Yeah, there's
that
nothing
sounds
better than
like,
like a boring dud.
That sounds like my last Sunday watching Final Fantasy Advent Children, the complete version.
Oh,
2 hours long, that movie.
I'm
I would
trying.
not have been able to watch it by myself, but I watched it with a couple of my friends.
Mm-hmm.
And every like 15 minutes or so, it'd be like, this scene cutting in with this scene doesn't really make all that much sense. And my boyfriend Matt would go, I don't think that this movie was finished. And my friend Jacob would pause it and get up from his seat, point to the title, which says Final Fantasy VII Advent Children Complete, and just point to the word complete, and then sit back down and hit play. And And it was complete, but it still didn't make the most sense.
Advent Children is a movie that was designed to be made into AMVs. And I
It
don't
really
know a better
was.
way of saying that.
And we watched it in English, and
Good boy.
man, I miss that era of Square Enix, like, voice acting direction. Which
Yeah.
is to say, there was none.
Yeah, the good old days of Squeenix where you had voice actors or who were voicing Tidus, and like he's eating something and the audio is so bad it sounds like he forgot how to eat and he like starts crying. After.
Final Fantasy X is what made me stop playing Final Fantasies.
Final
played
Fantasy X was like my intro to Final Fantasies that wasn't like
You
watching
haven't
somebody
played-
else play them.
You haven't played Boys Taking a Road Trip together?
No.
Oh my god, I love boys taking the
Our
road
boys
trip
are
together.
Watched I can't play video games because I have hand problems and zero time. Like if I want to be able to work, I cannot waste my hand energy on making on playing video games as much as I want to. So usually I'm experiencing video games through watching other people play them, either online or otherwise. And I watched Clint, my partner, play the Carboys Final Fantasy, and I think that might be my favorite because the premise to me is just so dumb of just like, yeah, we're gonna just road trip across the world, and I'm gonna avoid becoming king by fishing for like months on end. Every time I watch, I go up to Clint and be like, so he's still fishing, huh? Don't you gotta like save the world? He's like, I mean, yeah, but I really want to catch this one fish for this challenge.
Oh my god, yeah.
It's just this character, like, it's just coming up this narrative where this guy's just avoiding moving on with anything because it's like, nah, I don't want to be king. I want to fish. And
It
drive around
literally
the
is
world."
Final Fantasy 15, the quest for more side quests. Like, like you get the most out of that game if you spend the most time doing anything but the main quest as long as possible.
So like Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9, I 100%ed. And Final Fantasy
wow.
10, I
You can't 100% Final Fantasy 10 like
Yeah.
the first time
Well,
or the
so
second
You would
time.
be trying to still do that today if you
Yeah.
did.
So like, but the thing is
Still
like
doing
I
the freaking
disliked the
Thunder,
I disliked the
tunnel.
characters so much that I just found the game tedious and wanted the plot over so I could be done with it.
Yeah.
So I like
See,
about halfway through just mainlined the main plot and then was like, all right, I'm done with this game. The only character
Yeah,
I
I
really
also
liked
hated
was
Tidus.
Orin.
Same. I love Orin. I wanted
Orin.
to baby me be like, damn, he's so cool and big and strong, and wow, he's flexing really cool actually. And also, who was that
This
big
is
kid?
non-binary takeover. We're talking gender feelings.
Yeah, that was very much a crush.
Hi.
I don't know if I want to like love you or be you.
Do I want to be this or am I into this?
Okay.
The answer is yes.
Yes.
So,
Congratulations, you are super gay.
okay. So, Hye and Fable, I have a question for you.
Yes,
At
smiles.
a wedding, I was seated with all the other NBs and trans men and trans mask folks.
Wow.
And I noted that every single trans mask or trans man I have met has a weird little guy that they hyperfixated on before realizing that they were trans.
Yes.
So,
Yep.
who is your weird little guy?
I'm gonna say, if you want to call it, it's like where did your gender spawn from? I'm just gonna say Gonzo.
It doesn't
Probably Gonzo.
It doesn't necessarily have to be where your gender spawned from. Just, like you were just compelled to fixate on this weird little guy.
Yeah, it was always like something like that. It was like a character like Gonzo, or they were otherwise just weird. Like the bat from Fern Gully, I was really into.
Yeah, that's a
That's
GU
good.
character.
I don't know
Are
why.
you also obsessed with like the owl from Secret of Nim?
I did like the owl, but I was into the crow.
Oh yeah.
Jeremy.
So Hye.
Charlie from All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Everything is a gender.
Hye, who's your weird little guy?
I'm trying to. Okay, here's the slight contextual question I have in response to that. How, like, what age bracket are we talking about?
It doesn't matter because people realize at different times. So
okay, because like I have like characters that I admired, but like I would never in my older years be like, wow, cool, yeah, that definitely. Like, are we talking like characters that crack
like,
the age?
You baby ducked on. It's like what did you imprint?
Okay. All right.
See, it's not necessarily even that, because I'm gonna tell you my weird little guy is, I do not want to be him. I don't like look up to him in any way, but I am compelled and fascinated by Pete Campbell, in Mad Men.
Oh God, yeah.
Pete
You want to put him in a jar.
He's horrible. And there's a hole. There's the line in Knives Out where he goes, "There's a hole, and it compels me," and that's how I feel about Pete Campbell's emotional well-being. There's a hole, and that hole compels me.
Explain who's Pete Campbell. Contextualize this for me.
Have you seen any Mad Men?
From Mad Men?
Mad Men. Oh, well, I need to watch Mad Men.
Pete Campbell is the worst person in Mad Men.
Oh wait, now I know what you're talking about. Yeah, there's the weird little guy that you kind of want to put into a jar and feed peanuts and shake.
There you go. I just posted a GIF of Pete Campbell. That's my favorite GIF of him.
There was man, I was not into Buffy like in the least. I pretty much avoided it. But although shout out to I saw the TV Glow, fucking fantastic. Ooh. Anybody who's listening who is trans, if you have not watched I Saw the TV Glow, this is now mandatory viewing.
Ether Tales. I linked Not Great Bob after posting Pete falling down the stairs.
Yes. Yeah, I wasn't into Buffy. However, there was the spin-off series Angel, which followed like the emo vampire that Buffy dated.
Yes.
But
the guy that I want to fucking kick in the ass.
Yeah, we literally watched through that now.
Kick his ass so fast.
I liked Spike and how, like, sorry, Spike Trotman, but this is different.
Not that Spike, the white Spike.
Like the kickable puppy of the group, who is the vampire ghost, who is super mad that he's no longer.
That is spoilers for Hye. We haven't got there yet.
Well, enjoy that.
Hye, just erase what Fable said. But
I'm gonna smoke a big joint after this stream and forget immediately.
This horrible man. I love him. I don't know why. I just want somebody to step on his neck really bad.
I'll do it.
Yeah. I mean, Buffy does a couple of times.
Yeah, but this is back. This is all like Buffy was trying to be sincerely cool. Angel, the show, was more like, Spike,
so no. Fable, he was never cool, not even on Buffy. He is trying so hard to be cool. Like, I can attest to this. He lives in Xander's basement.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. This is how little of Buffy I watch.
Yeah, he goes from being completely whipped by his delusional out of it girlfriend, to being cucked by Evil Angel, to being drunk all the time because his goth girlfriend broke up with him, to living in Xander's basement as a pathetic mess. Spike was never cool. He is trying very hard to be cool, and that is the appeal of his character.
Yes, I love him because he's horrid.
He's a pathetic little wet little man.
Fable, not to make you start watching literally tokusatsu stuff, but that reminds me of one of the characters from a Kamen Rider that I watched that goes from literally like the son of like the arc's bad guy to regular bad guy to a like dude down on his luck to a guy obsessed with like graphic tees to a dude with like really weird fashionable tastes. Like he goes through so many fucking arcs trying to be cool, and that's why I love that guy the most out of everybody.
But to rewind it a bit to explain you part of what compels me about Pete Campbell, is it's very funny because in Mad Men he is the character who is the most right about the future, but no one listens to him because everyone hates him. There is a character who just calls him a grimy little pimp, and that is an accurate description of him. There is a part where Pete Campbell's mom tells him, "You are a sad, bitter child, and you have grown to be a sad, bitter little man."
Devastating.
Damn.
One of my favorite jokes is in the last few seasons, Pete Campbell is taking care of his mother who has dementia. And
So
yeah.
So I'm thinking like, is the through line on all these characters that we kind of latch on is like, here are these guys who are just kind of suck at being men.
That is usually it, because sometimes they suck at being men, but they don't care. Because when I was asking people, Charlie Day is the one that a lot of people fixate on.
Charlie,
Charlie Kelly, kitten, home of kitten mittens.
Newt Geisler!
Yeah.
Everybody's favorite early 2010s white boy.
Another one is any character played by Kieran Culkin.
That too.
Is BoJack Horseman anyone's weird little guy? So far, no, and it might be because he's a horse. And
I think BoJack is too he actually does care.
Yeah, I feel like Todd might be someone's weird little man.
Well, Jesse Pinkman, like Aaron Paul's other character, Jesse Pinkman might be.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like the world's most kicked puppy.
Yeah.
If I had been younger, I probably would have been into Jesse Pinkman, but I was already.
It's a very sack of books. It's a very specific flavor of sucking at being a man. Also, they're frequently short, and BoJack as a horse is taller than most of the other characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Oh God, I've been trying to think. So, is a
Probably my proudest accomplishment was when the pilot for Lackadaisy came out, and people declared Rocky like a funny little gender guy while showing off one of the gifs of a scene that I animated. I'm like, yes!
Yeah, there you go.
Yes!
It's bleeding out of you.
Yeah. Funny little gender guy.
Funny little guy residue.
Yeah, my favorites are characters that are better than me. There's characters that are better than me where it's like the massive, powerful women where it's like you are unobtainable and I worship you. Or funny little gender guy who just fundamentally fails at being a dude and he's like some unspecified flavor of queer. But it's unexplained.
But so one of my favorite someone is saying the ventriloquist from Batman the Animated Series. But so my favorite Pete Campbell moment, or one of my favorite jokes in Mad Men, is Pete during the end of the season. One of the last few seasons, he's taking care of his mom who has dementia, and to get her to not leave the house, he tells her it's St. Patrick's Day over and over again.
Oh, no.
And the reason why she won't leave the house is because she's racist against the Irish. So he's lying to his racist mom about it being St. Patrick's Day. So she'll stay
As an Irish in
inside.
Boston, I find that hilarious.
It's so specific.
It's an absurd kind of racism. Of like nobody's like that actually.
That
Well,
evil
in the
tiny
60s
racism,
they
that's
were.
wow.
Like,
Oh, in the 60s they sure were.
Yeah.
like, an 80-year-old lady in the 60s,
No, I guess it depends. In the U.S. or in the U.K.
It's in the U.S.
Oh no, it's still in the U.S. Like
US.
people were still, yeah.
I was like, nobody they were upset about Catholics, but was it the Irish so much?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
because of the
it's
Irish.
still,
mean,
especially,
shit, but-
no, okay, so Fable, like, the family that Pete is descended from has a Wikipedia page and their own website. So, like, that's how old money waspy they are. So,
Wow.
they hate everybody.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah. If you weren't on the Mayflower, they hate you.
Oh, like you don't belong here unless you were on the boat.
yeah, basically.
The only boat. Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, his mom, and there's a part where he is hiring a nurse to help take care of his mom, and when he is presented with a guy who has a Hispanic name, he's like, is he Spanish from Spain? Because otherwise she won't, like, let him be her nurse. Like,
Just tell her yes.
yeah.
Well, what she's not gonna know the difference.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just like the fact that he's lying to her about it's St. Patrick's Day, Mom. You don't want to go outside.
It's so absurd.
There's also
I gotta watch Mad Men. I have every reason to watch Mad Men, and I have not. I've not. Had access to it, and
there's
it's
also
so
a good joke with Pete's mom that has dementia where when Robert Kennedy gets shot, Pete's taking a nap and his mom wakes him up and goes, "They just shot that poor Kennedy boy." And he goes, "No, Mom, that was several years ago."
Oh. See, Mad Men for me, I'm excited for us to watch it in the future, Cal, because for me, I grew up in an only child household, in a very
Same.
yeah, and for me, okay, so Sylphy, you'll understand. Wait, Fables, did you say so as well?
So did I say what?
Are you also a singleton?
No, I have a fiance.
No, only child.
No, like
No.
I
siblings.
was the oldest. I'm
Oh,
sure.
okay.
I'm sure I had confused the both of them at this point. But no,
Oh, okay. No, I did hear whether or not you'd said, but anyway, no. So for people who were only children, and Sylphy, you will know this. You know how you gave your parents, like parent time, where it's like, this is your activity that is entirely divorced from me, so you can go do your own thing, and I can go in my own room and do my own thing. Like that's like their quarantine, and therefore you don't want anything to do with it because that's their space. My parents' two shows for that was Mad Men, well actually three. It was Mad Men, The Walking Dead, and Breaking Bad. So as a result, I have never seen those shows, not out of a not willingness to watch it, but I always associate with like, okay, this is when my parents are going to leave me alone for like an hour, and I'm going to go dick around on the internet or whatever it is.
You said
Oh, that was me whenever my parents put on Survivor. I was like, all right, I'm gonna play video games. Bye.
Yeah, bye. Huh?
How old are you?
I am 31.
I'm 36. I think I was already in college when most of that stuff came out.
Yeah, that sounds about
Yeah.
correct, because that would have been when I was a teenager, yeah, so.
That's probably one reason I didn't see
I
Mad
am
Men
a
also,
year
was
older
that
than
I
you,
didn't have
so-
access to TV for a while. It was like, if I can't pirate it off the internet, I can't watch it.
Yeah.
I couldn't afford cable.
I'm obsessed with Mad Men. I know too much about it. I recently got into an argument on Blue Sky about Mad Men's themes.
Ooh, I want to see this. Thing.
Someone
Blue
was
Sky
one of those
arguments
shows-
are great. I'm enjoying arguments on the internet again, thanks to Blue Sky.
So someone was wrong on the internet, and I had to tell them because they were wrong about Mad Men.
What were they wrong about?
This is the thing that was frustrating, because they clearly paid enough attention to the show to understand that one of the themes is toxic masculinity and aging. But they were insisting that that was the main theme, that's what the show was about. Whereas the show is actually about what it looks like versus what it actually is. That is why they work in advertising. Literally every single character reinforces that theme. The masculinity and aging, several of the characters do reinforce that. One of them is Dawn, but all of the women don't focus on that. So it's like you're ignoring half of the cast to say that this is the main theme rather than
Right.
the
Well, it's like, you could have additional themes.
yeah,
in a-
but we were arguing over which one was the main theme.
Oh, okay. This is a dork argument.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's like a
Argument,
real
yeah.
good debate argument instead of
But
like
it's also
yelling
like
at the wall.
Arguing on Blue Sky is good.
well, so it's also like when all of the characters reinforce a theme versus half of the characters reinforcing the theme, one theme is more important. Like, also, the industry they work in reinforces that theme. If it was about masculinity and aging, they would be like pro athletes or something. Like,
Something where getting older is going to make it impossible to be in that career field.
Yeah.
No, now you have me thinking it's like Mad Men, but they're athletes. And it's
The
about aging
sports
out of
anime
your
we all
job
dream
and, like,
of.
Yeah. Now, yeah, if only sports were like sports anime. Like, I would love a, God, I'm just so not into watching sports, but if you give me a sports anime, I'm like, oh, hell yeah, I get to experience sports through the perspective of somebody who is a super nerd about the topic. This is going to be the most interesting thing ever.
That is true. There's nothing better than, like, getting somebody who really knows, like,
Yeah.
there's a sort of tangential joy in, like, dropping somebody in a thing of water of their speciality, like a tea steeper, and you just watch
Yeah.
them diffuse and
I know,
embody that.
It's like watching a polar bear roll around with a giant ice block. It's so charismatic and charming. You're like, oh, look at it. It's having fun doing its
Look at 'em
natural
go.
thing. It's burying its head in like the box full of horrible, gross fish innards, just like it would do in a wild. It's like you don't want to meet the polar bear out in the wild, but it's great to see it in the zoo.
Yeah, you have. It's like that's. You know what? That's my level of whenever I have friends who start talking about Lord of the Rings shit. Like,
Yeah.
I want them to. It's a big reason of why I when Rings of Power came out, I was like, I have absolutely no stake in this, but I hope this is good. If not for the fact I know how much you like to dissect this like a frog, and also how
And
much.
they make your amazing 3-hour videos about things that I do not care about that I can listen to while I work.
Yes.
I'm not into theme parks, but oh man, these people are really into theme parks.
I just like when it this is to bring it back to like the emotion part of storytelling.
Everything comes back to Dune.
Well, I was gonna say because Lord of the Rings was also one that's kind of so concerned with being epic that I didn't
Yeah.
get as invested in it, except for the hobbits. My favorite Lord of the Rings characters are Merry and Pippin, and Frodo and Sam. Like, I could take or leave a lot of the other characters.
I like the rivalry between God, I can't
Now,
remember names.
Gimli
right
and
now.
Legolas.
Now, does Golem count?
Yeah.
Does Golem count as a funny little gender guy?
He could. He seems
Yes.
like a funny little guy.
He dies
Legolas was my
at the end.
intro
It's
to
like,
I like guys with long hair.
he messed up so hard in the end that he ended up saving everyone. That's kind of perfect.
But
You just love Tail, guys.
yeah, but it's also like I was thinking about a few geek shows ago, Spike and I were talking about when there's like political machinations in a story. And I hate vampire fiction that gets bogged down by vampire politics. I think vampire politics is always the most boring part of any vampire story. And it's because frequently those don't affect anyone outside the room where those politics are happening. And so a lot of fantasy shows also will have like political machinations that can be really dull, and it wasn't until like Game of Thrones that it articulated the difference of when it's interesting to me and when it's not. And it is like, how does it affect people outside of that room? Because like the Lannisters declaring war on the Tyrells, and the Tyrells grow all their food, so then the Lannisters have to deal with a famine. That is way more interesting to me than like whatever backstab machinations are happening in a Vampire Masquerade type setting. Yeah.
Because the thing is that compels you about those sorts of settings, and it's kind of why I get not frustrated with certain like Game of Thrones when they start obsessing about only the houses. It's like, well, how what about the people that like makes it so that you have these resources and this land and that you rule over? Like, what? Not to say that it's like they don't have their own intrigue as characters, and then how they are as characters reflects the policies that they make. But every time I'm just always sitting there, it's like, who the fuck is bringing you this food? Like, what?
Yeah. Where are you getting your resources from, bitches?
Like?
It's like, I need a little Terry Pratchett in here, please.
Well, so, because,
I think infrastructure to go along with these dragons.
And it's also
somebody who loves management.
The dragons, like, how did that work?
It's also, that's why it's a shame that Game of Thrones, the show, did Dorne so dirty. Because in the books, Dorne mostly stays out of the war. And then, Pedro Pascal's character gets killed, and his niece is like, we gotta go to war to avenge Pedro Pascal. Like, he was he was my favorite uncle. He was super cool and rad, and they just murdered him. So we gotta go fuck those people up.
If your uncle was Pedro Pascal and they fucked him up, would you not also?
I know. I completely legitimate. Like, this is high. This is where it's like emotions are great.
Yeah.
And so it's like she's like, we're gonna go fuck him up. And then her dad won't go fuck them up, and he has a great scene where he takes her to a public bath in Dorne, and asks her which children are nobility and which children are lowborn, because since it's medieval times, everybody's swimming naked, so you can't tell because no one's wearing fancy clothes or shitty clothes.
Right.
And he's like, as of right now, only one Dornish man has died in the War of the Five Kings. And when you go to war, you can't just think about yourself. You have to think about all of these children. And so it's a emotional plea about, like, it sucks that my brother Pedro Pascal died, but if we go to war, that's gonna orphan half of these kids, maybe get others killed. Like, think of the children before you declare war. And that's like a great scene that is not in the show because the show did Dorn dirty. Because that's not as interesting as dragons to the showrunners.
Unfortunately, and I mean the
Dragons are
show
cool.
suffered as a result.
Also, Hye, the character who gives that speech in the books, he is in the show very briefly, and he is played by the guy who plays Bashir.
Shut the fuck up! Everything comes to hold my.
So Hye,
overflowing.
we could have had
there anymore.
We could have had Bashir talking about you need to think of the children before declaring war. Like,
man,
I feel
Man.
robbed.
I feel robbed. Like, we were robbed of Alexander Siddig giving a great monologue about the cost of war.
And he looks so cunty too, and because I've seen photos from my Julian Bashir freak friends. I've seen photos of that costume he had, and he was dripping in swaggy.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
All right, I gotta get back to work, and I think you guys have you've moved on to Star Trek, and I have nothing good. There's too much Star Trek. I can just remember. Oh yeah, the Reading Rainbow guy.
Yeah.
My
just
favorite.
just get on board where I did at the lower decks.
The dude from My Little Pony. He was in that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically played himself. The dude, he was a.
He
was about to
basically
say,
played
Discord
Q as a monster in
Yeah.
My Little Pony. Yes.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah, they just
certainly
stuck
some
Q in it.
overlap.
They're like, why not Q? And everybody was like, sure, why not?
And then he said, "Yes, sure, why not?"
Yeah.
And then he was
All
in
right,
a
I
My
gotta
Little
back-
Pony documentary.
We don't talk about the My Little Pony documentary.
He had a good time. All right, I gotta go.
All right.
I gotta go back to work because I have notes to do. But thanks for inviting me on to increase
course.
The
the
NB.
number of MBs on board by like.
4 NB's the best number.
Have a fantastic evening. Thanks for stopping by.
You too.
Yeah.
I'd love to talk about science fiction and funny little gender guys and why the fuck are we all like who else has a persona that's a raptor? That's another trans mask thing I've noticed. I'm like, why the fuck are we all dinosaurs?
Why
the-
do we
or
all
lizard.
love lizards? Warm
even
Rock Association.
Shut up.
Listen, I'm gonna keep my little wolf. Take my little wolf from my cold dead hands.
There also is a lot of trans masks who also were little wolves. So many of them are.
Oh,
playing
so
wolves.
what's fun
We've all
is
been
so like mermaids being a trans lady thing.
Yes.
Equally a thing is trans masks and werewolves. I went on a
Oh my
trans
God,
mask
yeah.
like Reddit, and one of the questions was, "Did any of you all have a werewolf phase?" And there were like 9 million replies.
Yes.
Oh, the
Phase
most.
implies it ended.
You know what the ultimate like non-binary trans thing that like aligns with me is? The fucking sharks, yo. I've always loved sharks.
They're monsters. Period.
Sharks.
Monsters.
Fable, have you seen Wolfwalkers yet?
Of course I have.
Good. I'm just making sure.
Yes. It's obligatory.
I have
Yeah.
several friends that
The
haven't
longer
seen
the-
Wolfwalkers, and that's that. I need all my friends
That's
to watch
a
it.
war crime. Yeah. Wolfwalkers is amazing. Cartoon Saloon, bless you. It made me go, man, I wish I was 12 when watching this.
Yeah.
So much.
The very gender line of "I'm not a girl, I'm a Wolfwalker." Good gender.
Yeah. It's like in your dreams, you become the wolf, and then you run into the wild, and like, yeah, we can bite and wrestle.
And then, fuck the British and fuck colonialism and fuck the
Both of
church.
Yes. Church, also the trans mask experience.
This
Kel, I'm just thinking about when we were talking about, I've watched this film that was like horrifically inaccurate about the history of Oliver Cromwell, and you were just like, okay, yeah, but Wolfwalkers though kind of had Cromwell in it. It was already leagues better than this fucking movie.
yeah. And he's the main bad guy. They don't say it's him, but it's him.
Kill him.
Pagans are obliged to watch Wolfwalkers too.
Yes.
Yes. So that's another genderqueer thing. Is like, how many of your friends are witches?
Or wizards.
Yes.
Yes.
Hye is a wizard.
I'm a wizard. I literally just made a whole thing of potions that's cooling down outside right now.
Literally before you got in, you go, hang on, I gotta finish my potion.
Okay, there's...
Yeah. I go
I
with
wish I could-
mage. A little weirder.
I wish I could show my potion making setup on stream. I have one big thing where I put it out in like a big silver bowl to cool down. It basically is just...
It made me realize as a kid that maybe there was something up with me reading Harry Potter and going, witches and wizards. What if you're neither?
Yeah!
Both.
There was a book I read, Dealing with Dragons, in the series. It's a series, part of a series of books by Patricia C. Red. That's kind of like, imagine Shrek pre-Shrek, where it was a story about
Proto Shrek.
fantasy world and like a parody of fantasy tropes and stuff. But one of the things in it was, no, mages, witches, and wizards are all different things. It's not a gendered thing, it's a different thing. So you are a witch and it doesn't matter what your gender is. Same thing with wizards. But they did point out that wizards seem to be entirely just old men with beards for some reason.
Fable, did you, since you did reference Discworld, have you read Monstrous Regiment?
Oh, which one is that one?
That's the gender one.
No, I didn't realize there was a gender one. I read a lot, like pretty much everything with death in it.
Okay.
Now, Death is my funny little gender guy.
You need to read Monstrous Regiment, because it's all about...
I will write that down.
It's all about girls dressing as boys to join the army.
Got it. Gotta get
I
that.
was about to say, I know that one. I've heard stories.
That's got all the gender.
I need that.
And that was the main rebuttal when TERFs tried to claim that Terry Pratchett would be on their side.
Oh, well, yeah, his daughter, like, shut that down real quick, too. Huh?
Yeah.
They really wanted another like British fantasy turf that they could lean on.
And the thing is they picked him because he's dead and couldn't refute them.
Yeah.
But his daughter did. And
I saw that. Yeah.
And
I was very pleased that K.A. Applegate apparently is extremely pro-trans.
Yeah, well, that, yeah.
yeah.
She also has, like, a...
Have you read
Trans
her
comment.
letter about the end of the series Animorphs?
Yeah, she's kind of like, stop crying and think about the themes of the show for a second. Did you really not the show, the book.
Sylphy,
Did you really expect anything different?
did you ever read Animorphs, and are you familiar with this letter?
I'm super familiar with Animorphs, yeah.
Are you familiar with the letter?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
So because characters at the end of Animorphs, they're all fucked up, have PTSD, and it is a no fun time. It is, yes, they won, but it is a hollow victory because they are scarred and horrified for the rest of their lives.
There's no like grand walk off into the sunset. They are child soldiers and they are permanently fucked up, and actually this was bad.
They're fucked up forever.
Yes.
And that is how the book ends. Like, and so some kids did not like that and wrote her expressing how sad it made them. And she was like, "Oh, you don't like it that Rachel died and Jack has PTSD and they're all like sad forever? Well, that's war, kids. So when you grow up
Yeah.
and are old enough to vote, you need to think about that when you put politicians in who are pro-war. Like, it was basically...
Day A
I
He's
Applegate,
right.
most
love
famous
that.
author of all. It's
Um,
basically like, no, I didn't write this to comfort you.
yeah.
And it's like, oh my god, that series is so good. I was rereading some of it and I was like, this informed my writing style way more than I think I had realized.
Did
until
you
I read it.
ever listen to Carrie Peach's Animorphs podcast?
Oh, what's that one called?
I honestly forget the name of it, but she read every single Animorphs book.
I started venturing into a Animorphs podcast, and I assume that must be the Animorphs podcast because there is only a handful.
Mm-hmm.
The niche group of kids who read Animorphs and actually absorbed the point instead of just going, ooh, cool covers.
I was part of the
There are
ooh,
50
cool
of us.
covers bits.
I read Animorphs.
I didn't
You
get
never had
that
a good
far in
adaptation.
Animorphs, partly because, as I mentioned earlier, I can't read. So I think I got 2 books in, and then I was like, I'm gonna watch TV instead.
Unfortunately, the TV show is awful and cannot recommend. It is.
Oh
truly
yeah, the TV show was
Okay,
garbage.
so
The
bad.
Goosebumps
It is
show was
very
better
much
than the TV
low
show for
budget
Animorphs.
Canadian
funny story
live
about the
action.
show. That was the first thing I ever ordered off of eBay.com. And I remember I thought I had fucked up irrecoverably because in my baby's first internet purchase, I chose Media Mail.
Oh.
And this was shipping out to Hawaii. AKA when they were still putting Media Mail shipments on like a boat. So
Oh no.
I thought I had gotten scammed at first, and then the tape shows up like a month and a half later to my doorstep. And I remember my mind being blown because the main guy who plays Jake in the TV show is also Bobby Iceman from
Yeah.
the X-Men
Yep.
movies in the early 2000s.
No, okay, hi. Is it actually
Yes,
him, or is it
hello.
his identical twin brother? Because
No.
there are 2 of them.
It's what? He has a brother, 2 of them?
There are 2 of them, because one time I
Yeah,
thought I was watching Bobby Iceman, and then IMDb is like, no, it's a different guy who looks just like him. It's his identical twin brother, because it's, his brother is the uncle in the Lock and Key Netflix series.
Oh.
And yeah, so the
funny.
thing is like, yeah, they're both actors, and they're just getting different roles, and so
I was gonna walk away, but we started talking Animorphs, and now I can't.
Oh, we
Sorry.
reeled you back
I
in.
remember-
That's so funny.
Animorphs, the show, was one of the first times as a kid I remember being in 6th grade, so I'm like 11 or whatever, and I'm like, I'm gonna sit down, and I'm gonna, I was like 10 or 11, so it was either 5th or 6th grade. I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna like tell my family I'm watching Animorphs, and I got to, watch it in my mom's bedroom, so I could be on my own and watch it on TV, and the little tiny TV that was all that she had, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna have like a snack and everything. This is gonna
Yeah.
be a big deal for me. And I watched it, and I was like, I didn't realize TV could be terrible. I was so
okay,
disappointed.
so he was
I'm so
Bobby
sorry.
Iceman,
Okay.
and
bad.
his brother
I
was
can't believe there's 2 of them.
his brother was Jimmy Olsen in Smallville.
Oh.
But when I say
Okay,
they're
yeah, he has that
identical,
sort of-
they are identical. So it is very
They both have that like twinkish fop about them that you could pull off that sort of character. That
yeah.
makes sense.
Sean Ashmore is Iceman. Aaron Ashmore is in Lock and Key.
Okay. Yeah, I enjoyed Animorphs from a speculative biology because outside of Iron Circus, I actually edited speculative biology zine with my friend and Jay.
Is that
Eaton,
Jay
but,
Eaton's thing?
Yeah.
I
but-
love that. Shout out to Jay. I love their weird ass centaurs and everything. I'm just like, oh, this is like that mix of hard sci-fi, but also there's actual characters.
Yeah.
I tried to message what was it? What's it called? Like Curiosity Archive or whatever, and I was like, you need to go check this out. You need to go check out Runaway to the Stars. Please.
It's so good.
It
I
is.
can't.
One of these days maybe we'll look at it.
It was very funny is when Jay was staying at my place for Books with Pictures Con. I was explaining my barefoot running and why I'm doing it, and Jay's response was, "That's how digigrade legs work." Because so the thing is if you run barefoot, it forces you to land on the ball of your feet rather than the heel. And a lot of the reason why people have knee pain when they run is because their knee is the main shock absorption if you land on your heel.
So you mean the weird way that I used to walk when I was a kid, where I would not have my heel touch the ground, is actually correct?
Well, it's better
If
for
you're running.
it's not for walking, but for running.
And
And
if you're trying to do a little get over there.
so so it's if you're running and doing ball strike or mid strike first, the arch of your foot and the heel of your foot are some shock absorption, and then so it's easier on your knee.
Well, I'll have to try that. I wonder what good shoe is there. A shoe that's good for that? Because I don't want to run on asphalt in Los Angeles.
So I run on a treadmill in my own house.
Oh, okay.
And so when I say I'm barefoot, I am barefoot on a treadmill.
Okay, all right, that makes more sense.
And they do make
But I don't
shoes.
want to step on a
They do make shoes that help you do that. Just any shoe that's labeled as 0 drop. Because the thing is modern shoes have a lot of cushion in the heel, and that encourages you to heel strike. So if you do want to try to find shoes that will help you do ball strike more than heel strike, look for stuff labeled 0 drop.
Oh.
I will never forget when upon find I was like, so would you ever get like those toe shoes? You just immediately went no.
No, they look stupid. I would never get
the ones
them.
with the ones that look like an alien shoe. I kind of like those.
The ones that
shoes
my
is
brain
very
tells
shoe
me
that
that
is-
it will be uncomfortable as hell.
I wanna try a pair on just to see what
Yeah.
what they feel like. Just
I
to
like
see.
the idea, but I don't like the idea of my toes being individually encased and then getting sweaty. But I like wearing sandals because I don't really like wearing shoes.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's the least amount of thing on my feet I can put on? And so
Yeah, I feel like it's like the same idea as when people get really nice like those svelte leather gloves or something, and
Yeah.
it just fits perfect. It's you get
yeah,
that
I
good
would love
traction.
something- a glove for my foot.
Yeah.
I don't want a shoe. I just don't want glass
Socks?
to my foot.
No, because that's like it's not individual.
Fable-
There are ones.
Fable, if you end up trying 0 drop shoes and barefoot running, because your ankles are not used to moving as much, they will get tired quicker when you first start out.
That's fine. I suck anyway, so I can't possibly suck more than I already do with running.
Hi, you've
And
reminded
I
me.
walk around the house largely without shoes on hard ground, and I'll go out onto my backyard, and I'll just like walk in a circle in the backyard with my sandals on, or sometimes just barefoot, because at least I can control that area.
Yeah.
Like I can sweep it. The worst thing I'm gonna step on out there is chicken shit. So.
Yeah.
Which is like ew, but also it's just chicken shit.
Ew.
I could step on a bee though. Some bees took up
Ow.
residence in this like defunct kiln in my yard,
Yow.
and now I'm like eager to, at some point, harvest their giant combs. I can see them making giant combs, like 7 of them, and I'm like, oh man, one of these days, you motherfuckers, I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna collect a comb. I'm gonna have so much wonderful honey.
Chomp into it like a graham cracker.
I will. We this happened once before where we had the swarm just suddenly like broke off into 2, and we were like, we got to get a bee guy out here. So we had a bee guy come by, and we were like, "Can we have some of the honey?" As he was like taking the bees out and taking the queen, and he's like, "Sure, go get a jar." And we were like, "Awesome!" So we got a jar and he just filled it with honey, and
Aw,
that
hell
was
yeah.
some of the best honey I've ever had.
I would
Yard
be
honey. Yeah.
that weirdo that it's like if I discovered a just hive of bees somewhere on my property and I needed to move it, I'd call somebody out and then be like, "Can I pay you for a box and you leave them here and I'll take care of them?" Like, it'd be
I
my
know.
bees.
You know,
I right now I have a free apiary. These fuckers love this kiln, and I could reach it and I could just grab it. I see them napping all the time. We left the door to the kiln open, hoping it would discourage bees from taking up housing in there. Nope, they
They were
love
like,
it in there.
"Sweet, easier access,
Easier
thanks."
access time to watch the bees. And I'm like,
They're
oh,
like,
it's spooky
"Sweet
when I walk
aeration,
past her flight path.
thanks."
Yeah. Oh,
Cool,
I'm so
thanks for-
sorry, bee. And I'll like when I'm doing my rounds at night and I'm like saying goodnight to the chickens and closing them up, I'll walk by the bees and be like, "Good night, bees," and they're
Good
just
night,
like,
bees.
you can see they're like barely moving in there. They've just
They're
all clustered in.
sleepy.
It looks like there's twice as many bees because they're all gone to sleep.
They're
That's
all tuckered
adorable.
out.
Yeah, they're
If
not
you
out and
can
working.
sneak a picture, you should post some.
I have taken photos. I could get some more. I could give it. I'll take a photo right now. Give me a second. 1 second. I'll be right back with a picture.
it occurs to me,
I
us
you
talking.
reminded me that these awful socks that are like rainbow bright socks with like individual toes existed.
Oh god, those, yeah. They look like that worm from Super Mario Sunshine.
Yeah. Go on, Kel.
Us talking about weird little guys. It occurs to me that Sorcery 101 is old enough that I could theoretically, in the next few years, meet someone who Danny is their weird little guy.
Oh, I
All
hope
of my
so.
weird little guys and girls are always two things: silver hair and attitude.
Hell yeah.
Every single time. So, Astarion, Heine, Fenris,
I think
anybody from Final Fantasy 14, because literally the whole cast is silver hair and attitude.
Yeah. I think my genre, because I was thinking I never said what my little guys were. My genre of guys that I imprinted on were very much like the squishy dudes who had the weight of the world thrust upon their shoulders, and yet they still sought to smile in the world.
The little guys.
Like,
yeah.
the little guys, both figuratively and metaphorically. Or, for example, Data Star Trek. Love that guy. Let's see, who else? I think I really, and this doesn't also apply to, like, little guys. Can also be, like, little guys metaphorically. Also, keep in mind, too, I grew up in, like, a cult house and school, so my brain for, like, ingesting any sorts of, like, significant media only really started to, like, help, not shape me, but, like, I've started to very impactfully remember beyond, like, going on, like, Facebook, as a 15, 16-year-old. So I'd say I think the first Blorbos I really, like, glommed onto were probably, this is a really deep pull here, if anybody has seen the 2013 masterpiece of Guillermo del Toro's Pacific Rim, specifically the
Yeah.
specifically the Kaidanovskis, because I was very much in the Jaeger camp of things, where my friends, like, I had a lot of, you were either a Jaeger fucker or a kaiju fucker, and I was very much in the mecha genre of that, and I also have a chronic habit of falling in love with characters who get maybe a cumulative amount of 5 minutes of screen time, and then they're, like, either dead or never come back at all.
My
Dude,
buddy
I get
Tino
that
glommed onto
so much.
the manic kaiju fan.
Yes,
Who-
yeah,
yeah.
a lot of
Yeah,
people
we
were in
call
the
those-
Newman.
We call those the Tina characters, and my friend Tina is also kind of similarly genderqueer. And there's always like the Tina character, which is like the little mad scientist guy
Yeah.
who just kind of sucks in the best way, and he is aesthetically a disaster.
Oh yeah, and like
Yeah.
the fun thing about the Pacific Rim Boyos was that they were awful little men for completely different reasons, but their goals were still, admirable and something to, they were trying to do the best for humanity. So like even past their little scrubbiness. They were good guys, and it was Pacific Rim 2013 was a wonderful everybody had their own lunch table in the greater Pacific Rim cafeteria, and you could go to your own cafeteria table and enjoy with your fellow freaks. There was always people at the Newman table, and you could go by there and grab snacks at your leisure, but you were never bound to stay at the Newman table. You could go be like, damn, I really love Mako, what a cool character. Oh yeah, fucking love Stacker Pentecost. I know those. He is definitely making out with Herc Hansen and maybe Tendo Choi every Thursday. Or, if you want to go hang out with the Kaidanovskis and be like, oh, damn, these people love each other so much, and this dude who's, 6 foot fuck, is a huge wife guy. Those two were definitely, my bisexual, cementing. Living in my cult house in school, I was always I am certainly something, but I know if I ever acknowledge that, I don't know what it is, and if I do know what it is, it's bad. So, that was when I started to go out and live on my own.
Man, okay. Bisexual Awakening reboot. Megabyte and, the lady with the mask.
Hexa something.
You oh my god.
Hexadecimal or something.
Yeah. Did you guys watch Reboot?
Yes.
Yes. You know what I mean.
Yeah,
right?
I know what you mean exactly.
Jay is Megabyte, first of all, and then Hexadecimal is mommy.
Yeah. Hexadecimal.
Yes. I was forever ruined. It's you cannot find a woman like Hexadecimal, and so I was I think I'm some sort of gay, but I don't understand what this is. I had a lesbian aunt, and I remember being very I knew I wasn't a lesbian, but I couldn't explain why until years later.
Because your answer was why not both?
It was why not both. That myself as a woman, it was kind of hard to call myself a lesbian while also saying I'm into women. So it's what does that mean? What's the word for that? And there wasn't one then for me.
Yeah, that's it. Also, Hexadecimal is a fucking great ass villain's name.
Oh yeah. So hi. Have you seen Reboot?
Hello. Bits and pieces. It was a little too early for me.
All the characters are computer things.
Yes.
It also, while the visuals are dated, the writing is really good and holds up. I can recommend giving it a watch. It's a good listen. And also, you'll understand why. Bisexual Awakening, Megabyte, and Hexadecimal, they were the virus characters, and holy fucking shit.
Oh yeah, I
did not understand my feelings back then, and I was embarrassed to admit them.
I am looking at this girly, and I see immediately what you are referring to, and I can see how that just imprints like a sponge.
Play a clip of those two talking, also. That's part of it, too.
God, yeah, that's okay. I recently...
Yeah. And anyway, speaking of that, bees. In general, Trad, I have a video of all the bees. Go check it out.
See them bees.
Bees.
There's a bee?
There's many.
Bees
bees.
in our NB episode.
You want to show people the bees, Kel? There's so many.
No, I don't want to show people the bees. I'm drawing.
Okay. That's fine.
I'm sorry, listeners.
Literally, if this were
I was giving you permission to show the bees. I wasn't telling you to show the bees.
If this were 200 or so years ago, any professional would be like, you have the bees built in. You just have to douse them with smoke and you can take one out.
I love it. I don't want to remove the bees. I want to keep them there. My roommate, who that's their stuff next to there, is okay with leaving the bees there for right now because her door goes right outside of that. And I'm just thank you for not demanding we evict the bees before we can harvest the honey.
Yeah, why miss out on all that honey? Also, they're just trying to live. They made their house.
Honeybees are generally non-aggressive.
Yeah.
No. They're feral honeybees, but we also have wasps around, and I don't fuck with the wasps. I'm like, unless
That's
their
fair.
nest is right next to a door, so you're guaranteed to bother them and then get stung, I pretty much leave them alone. And they eat all the slugs and stuff. It's like, I want my ecosystem to be allowed to function. I'm not going to get rid of these animals if they're not really causing a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just
don't mind the
remembered
mice
my
outside.
original funny little guy, Kirby.
Kirby, that's a good, funny little guy.
Well, I was born literally the day after that, like, first Kirby game release.
I thought you were gonna say I was born the day after Kirby was born.
No.
Like on a calendar or something,
Like,
you have got Kirby's birthday celebrity.
Literally the day after. It was like I was born a week early. It was like, yeah, because I heard for fucking Kirby release, I had to get in on that.
So, I'm just gonna say, usually Geek Show ends around now, but that's because Spike needs to go to bed.
Fair.
Well,
I'm still drawing. This is the thing. Except for Sylphy, we're all West Coasters, so we can keep going. I am fine with that.
I just got sucked back in because of Animorphs, and then you guys wanted to see bees.
So
But I
Hye
should
and
get back to
Sylphy, and Fable, we can go as long as you want. Fable, I understand if you need to go, but yeah. I got pages to draw.
I'm typically awake for another 40 minutes at least, so.
Yeah, the thing
Yeah,
I'm
I
working
could-
on, I'm doing board notes, and unfortunately, that's like writing. I
Yeah.
kind of need all of my brain when
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
doing
no
notes.
worries.
If I was doing inking or cleaning up stuff or notes on like character design, that would be one thing. But board notes is like a big chunk of my brain.
Yeah.
I
That's
need to
the
get, like,
writing you
published
gotta
under-
focus
yeah.
and shit.
Yeah, it's I wouldn't be able to talk and work at the same time. But I love chatting with you guys. It's really fun. So thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
Because I don't get the chance to talk to you guys all that much, and I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Thank
It was
you.
super great getting to talk to you, Fable, about, like, rando stuff for once, like, not business.
Yes. And also just like collectively figuring out what's the deal with funny little gender guys? Why do we all got that?
What's the
There's
deal
some
with...
sort of big thesis here that could be stated. I know so much about like trans femme feelings on these things, but I think very rarely do I see trans masks talking so much about like why do we all have
Yeah,
this thing?
this is now my new icebreaker when I meet other trans
Yeah.
mask people. I'm just like, so who's your funny little guy?
My most recent, I'll say one more funny little guy, Fable, before you go, and this was much more, like, this was the official hammer on the egg smash for my gender,
Mhm.
and transing it, was, I'm sorry, I'm putting another quarter in my Star Trek jar, Hugh Borgman, from the wider show, but more specifically Star Trek Picard, and I hated the season so much, it, like, broke my gender, and it drove me into, like, revamping it in time. That was my funny little guy.
Guys, they can transcend their media. It's
Truly.
like, well, why did I latch onto that?
I
It
went
tells you
nuts.
something about yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember probably the thing that broke my egg was making some characters, and there was a character where I was like, I want to make a character that's like, what if me, but like cooler? Like, what's the cool version of me, actually? Like, where I would envy that? And then I was like, wait a second, this character is a really specific kind of way. It's like, oh, well, I'm too cool to be, like, they're way too cool, they're much cooler than me, and so they can be, like, freely trans mask and, like, happy about it. That's probably
And then
what
you were
broke
like,
me.
screw it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
And
like,
then-
wait a second, why can't I be that? It's like,
You can, actually.
Your gender? Our gender.
what if you did your own gender? Yes. Hello, kitty. All right.
Kitty.
Before I get sucked into more.
Yeah,
Thanks for
Bye,
talking.
Fable.
Yeah.
Have a lovely evening. Good talking to you, Fable.
bye.
Go bye-bye.
I love
And
hearing
number
about
3.
people's
I'll
little
probably
guys.
stay on...
Huh?
Yeah, I will probably stay on for another half hour, and then I
All right,
will bounce,
we'll
'cause
call it at 9 for us. So this is an hour long extra geek show for the
Whoa.
viewers.
Yeah.
That's the power of the non-binary. But really the power
Staying
of
up really late.
West Coasters. It's not late for Hye and I. It's only 8.
Oh no, the hell, the sun still looks like it's out.
Yep.
Damn you. It's 11:30 here.
I'm sorry.
I'm now looking at the different movies those twins have been in.
It's still nuts to me, the fact that they're twins.
It's very funny because it's like, they clearly are going for very different types of roles. It seems like, Aaron really likes to be in trashy sci-fi shows. And Sean seems to be shooting for bigger things, which is why he was Iceman.
Mm-hmm. But just like that, we immediately both start calling him fucking Bobby Iceman.
His real name's Bobby Drake, aka Iceman. I do know these things. I read a lot of X-Men. I'm also friends with Jay Edidin, who explains the X-Men. I know a lot of X-Men things. I can explain the Summers family tree. Someone says, Ice Drake, Bobby Man.
I say that partially because I do this. I've recently acquired, well, not recently, but I have a habit of, if I forget somebody's last name from a show, or if a character in a show does not have a last name, I'll just default them to, like, whatever their show is. So it's like Quark Star Trek.
Oh, yeah.
So, or like Spock Star Trek. Who else? Shit, what's his last name? Logan. Yeah, Logan X-Men. Shit like that.
Logan Wolverine.
It's a great. Yeah, there you go.
His real name is James Howlett.
That's right. Okay.
And then he was dubbed Logan by Weapon X, along with his codename Wolverine.
That's such a. Why would they name him Logan? Was that after somebody? That's like when you get a cat and you give him like the most blue collar ass name possible.
It's the thing
like
is
Bill.
like it changed multiple times. So
okay. That's fair.
The reason is different depending on what story.
Understandable.
I'm almost done with this page in a crowded bar.
You're getting there. You're so strong. I finished my pages for now, and I just am gonna be cooking until I leave for tomorrow. Yippee!
Yay!
Taking the Portland train from Seattle for the first time. I'm very excited.
Take the train into Boston sometime.
Ooh. How far away is it from where you're at now? Like, what's the?
So I live like 10 minutes from 2 different stops on the like Framingham Worcester line, so it's easy for me to get into Boston if I want to.
Okay.
It's just all about usually going with someone because like I don't want to hang out by myself. For once, I kind of do, and go into the Museum of Art or something.
I always like to see the duck statue in the Boston Gardens and what hats they have given it recently. Hi, look up Make Way for Ducklings statue.
Oh, I just Googled it as you were saying that. This shit is so cute.
They give them.
One time I was walking by and somebody gave them incredibly tiny yellow raincoats and hats, and I practically cried. It was so cute.
I would absolutely trip over this, but this is fucking precious.
They also get Red Sox capes when the Red Sox are doing well. I've also seen them get Bruins capes. And Santa hats in Christmas time. It's good. They get a lot of fun hats.
Yeah, there's so much possibility you could do with this statue on both like a just community effort and seasonal attire.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hi, since you grew up in Hawaii, did you read Make Way for Ducklings as a
Hello.
kid?
No, I don't think so. Wait for ducklings. No, show me the book. Oh, what is it? Oh no, I have not. This shit's cute. Oh,
Yeah, that's
man.
what the statue's connected to. The thing is I always wonder how common it is outside of Massachusetts, because the plot of the book is basically these ducks walk around Boston and
it's very region specific. No,
and like here's all the landmarks of Boston.
So
And in fact,
region-specific.
there is a
region locked childhood.
there is
memory.
a duck tour in Boston that you can take, where you follow the paths that the ducks took.
We had the greatest interaction I had with a duck growing up as High Junior in Hawaii was at the local Big Island harbor. It's called Honokohau Harbor. There was a duck there that got lost off of its migratory groupies that it flew with, or whatever migratory shit happened. That he just lived there, and they named him Jeremy, and he was the largest duck I'd ever seen and probably will ever see, because he got like the most prime fish trimmings from all the people who would come back with their catches and be like, "Hey, duck, you want a piece of fish?" And that duck didn't want for fucking anything in his life.
The duck was like, "Do I?"
The duck every day didn't have to go raking around any mud, anything. He just, would see a boat coming in and paddle his little ass after it and be like, "Treat for me."
So the lady who made this book has very nice like pencil drawing illustrations.
Yeah,
but
these are gorgeous.
She has other kids books that she made that were one is just about like getting blueberries, like finding them in the wild.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
That's cute.
That's adorable. That's also oddly specifically Massachusetts.
Well, the greater
Yeah,
New
like I
England
said,
area, because I believe she's in Maine when she does it. Yeah, most of this lady's, I looked it up, most of this lady's books are set in Maine.
That's cute.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like the closest one I had to when I was in Hawaii, we had like a bunch of child's books about like sea turtles, the honus. There was this one about a blue honu. I remember obviously the who's the bitch with the magic scales? Or no, it was the rainbow fish.
Rainbow Fish, yes. I read that as a kid.
It's a bitch with the scales.
Bitch
Like,
with
what's
the
its name?
scales.
And then that's a lot of them out there. It's a lot of fish. And then one specifically that really just wormed its way into my brain. It was a Hawaiian pantheon book of like different legends and stories about the Hawaiian pantheon and other Polynesian mythos stories, and still to this day some of the most beautiful paintings I have seen for like a wide, open fold out book like that. We'll never forget that. I wish I could just like pull that out sometimes. I look at it, but that, and then also my hoard collection of zoo books.
Oh yeah,
Because
no, I had
those
all
were-
the zoo books.
Yeah. I still feel like, honestly, and this isn't out of bias for my own editing of Almost Real, but I genuinely wish that they would reissue those books in some form of collection, because I truly believe those are very important in the modern history of graphic design for publications, and text layout and like the way that they were able to combine such a engaging form of educational material with the idea of like a issued magazine, but also like the design ethos of it, and just their layouts still to this day hold up.
You know that
So
part of Inside Out where the non-emotion bits of like the brain that are like the custodians are like, oh yeah, sometimes we send this one up, and it's like a ditty. For me, it's specifically the Zoo Book commercial where they talk about the fucking tiger poster. Oh my god, that
free
dude's like
tiger
voice
poster.
lives rent free in my brain. It's not even a song. It's just the
So
dude
a
going
thing that
in the tiger
frequently
poster.
lives rent free in my brain, that Sylphy you might recognize. I will think I am a crazy person. But I remember, I don't know if they still play these commercials, but I remember that I once started this jingle in front of Blue, who also grew up in Massachusetts, and Blue finished the jingle. So, Sylphy, do they still have commercials for Bernie and Phil's quality, comfort, and
Quality,
price?
Comfort and price.
That's nice.
Wow.
They've got a new one over here, which is like this guy and his 4 kids, and like every time that me and my mom like see the updates to commercials, we're like, Jesus Christ, man, get off of her. It's like every single time he has another fucking kid, and it's like, dude. But his kids will always just scream Metro West Subaru into like the commercial, and that's their ditty so, like now, and they have like graphics over top of it, like where we'll have the word as they say it's like watching like Japanese talk shows where they have like the captions say like with like funny like animations to them. God, I gotta stop watching television.
Jordan's furniture
Yeah, exactly.
still got
Wasting space with commercials.
Jordan's furniture still on a lot of commercials there.
Yes. Yes.
Hi, so here's a completely odd thing. Jordan's Furniture, obviously a furniture store, but also it is an IMAX theater.
Yeah, movie theater.
Okay.
So it's
interesting.
buy your new sofa and then see this in IMAX. It's a weird combo. I don't know why they were like, these are the things that need to go together.
Definitely needs to happen.
I can see the weird logic because it's like you get people talking about it, and then like you come out of a movie and you're like, damn, I'm so comfy after watching that movie. I wish I could be comfy all the time. And then you look at a couch and you're like, damn, that's on 35.8 interest financing if I buy this couch today. Okay, sure, why not? So,
they apparently, I guess, have franchised because there are some Jordan's Furnitures in Washington.
Oh, shit. Let me see. Hold on.
There's some
Jordan's Furniture movie combination.
Oh god, that's like if I ever see a Dunkin' on the fucking West Coast, I'll shit my pants.
Let me see. Performance. Oh, this is like the most pottery bomb. Oh, they got them rainbow couch cushions. Yes.
So yeah, there's apparently a Jordan's Furniture near you.
Sorry, Jordan's Adventure Ropes Course.
Yeah, they got that too. I don't know, like the dude that runs it is just like, I want to sell furniture, but I also really want to be a grandpa. So,
yeah, really. This is like
climbing courses and movies for your kids while I sell you a mattress.
If you really want to enter either the cool grandpa or cool uncle territory, you have the furniture store where every couch kind of smells like cigarettes, and then you go into the movie theater and they're like, hey, you want to watch Caligula with us? This is such a microcosm of like just weird store mashups. Wow. attractions. The attraction is the sofa I want to buy. Oh, fucking devastating. The Enchanted Village is closed for the season.
Oh, yeah, the Enchanted.
Beantown?
Yeah.
Beantown is the nickname
Yeah,
for
Beantown.
Boston.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, Beantown's a nickname for Boston.
Yep.
I never knew this. I learned something today. Also, I like how on all the... I am, for the chat at home, I am on jordans.com/aboutus/attractions, and every single one after the IMAX theater, it has it at Beantown, it at New Haven, it at Portland, the Enchanted Village. Like, but there's no plural. What a... Huh. This is fascinating.
You're learning so
I'm
much
loving
about
this.
Boston.
I'm loving this, like communicating with Kel. It's like, yep, Massachusetts shit is so normal. Communicating with Hye, what is this nonsense?
It's this strange East Coast ass land.
Well, what's also funny is
Coffee is like an
no,
8
so
PM drink over here.
the editor of the Next Smut Peddler, who is using a pen name, so I'm not going to say their name, and Matt were talking about the theme for the Next Smut Peddler, and we were trying to think of a title, and I suggested Wicked Sexy. And Matt agreed that that was a good title, and the other person in this conversation,
Really
not
good
from
title.
Massachusetts, was like, what? And it's like, oh yeah,
Wicked
that's...
Sexy just sounds like a surfer dude I would encounter in Pismo Beach in like
well,
1995.
because, Boston uses wicked as, like, very, so...
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, wicked awesome, wicked pissa.
Wicked pissing?
I am...
Yeah, wicked pissa.
Hi, I am wicked smart.
P-I-S-S-A-H.
Yeah. Hi, I am wicked smart.
Yeah.
Wait, wicked what?
Smart.
Wicked smart.
Smart. Oh, smart. Okay, he's wicked smart. You are, Kel. You are indeed wicked smart.
Also, there is a BoJack Horseman episode where he goes to Boston, and I feel like there's a part where one of them goes, "Hey, he knows our things!" And I was like, this is my reaction to the entire episode.
You did that, Leonardo DiCaprio from Wolf of Wall Point, like, yes, they understand. You also have Boston Cooler,
Hang on, let me go get the meme.
Werner's Ginger Ale. Okay, I recently had Werner's Ginger Ale because, weirdly enough, the mutual friend that Kel and I visited at the hospital, the refreshments that they had on hand inside the hospital directly had Werner's Ginger Ale, which is weirdly fucking specific to have in a Portland hospital. But yeah, I understand the hype for that. That was delicious.
There's a second one, but this one's the new one, but I was going after this one. I put it in general chat.
Let me see. Who put Massachusetts mentioned?
Yeah, it's like my favorite fucking meme.
God, I do love these, like, extremely hyper-specific, like, regional, the girly holding up their refreshments, memes.
I love it. It's just wearing a Boston cap.
You sent
holding
me...
a Dunkin'.
Yeah, hi, you sent me one that was this, but it's Armenia mentioned.
Armenia mentioned,
yeah.
Yep.
Every
Every time, break out that internet cognac.
I remember when I briefly lived in LA, I was getting groceries and I was buying some alcohol, so they had to check my ID. But I was also buying Dunkin' Donuts coffee. And so the cashier looks at my Massachusetts ID and goes, Are you homesick? Because I was buying Dunkin' Donuts coffee.
So far from. Oh man, you got.
And I was like, I wasn't even thinking about it. This is just my default.
So, for reference, like, I went to the hospital recently, and within the hospital, like, there was a sitting area with like one of those built-in little waterfalls. I was like, oh wow, so cool. And over on the side is like some places where you can get food. And as I go around the corner, I turn and there is a Dunkin' in the hospital. It just in the fucking hospital.
So what? Duncan.
It's
Hi.
in our blood coffee, okay?
Hi, there are 2 Stumptown coffees in Iris's hospital.
Delicious. That's exciting. I will go there after I have adequately drunk my potion.
God, you've reminded me about the Dunkin' across the street from the Dunkin'.
Yep. Well, I've seen that one video where it's like, oh yeah, there was a blizzard, and we interviewed these people, and they were like, oh yeah, I can't get to our fucking Dunkin'.
No. Look at this picture back in the actual channel I'm supposed to post images in. Like,
No. Is this... That's just excessive. Also, I like that there's 3 motorcycles following what looks like a brick shit of an SUV, like it's a presidential motorcade junior, but had to pass through a Dunkin' Donuts.
Yo, I was complaining the other day with one of my friends how we miss, like, 1985 pickup trucks, the ones that, like, you still
The
can
ones that are
see
tiny?
Yeah, the
and
tiny
small?
ones that they still make in Japan that I wish we could import over here.
You
can,
can.
actually.
It's
You
very
just have to-
expensive, but
Yeah.
you can do it.
Okay, but I'm not.
It's not
I
depending on
I'm
where you're
very
getting
dumb
them.
and make little money.
Yeah, I think it's well, and also too, I think the import rule is like you have to wait 25 years or something for a certain model of car to be able to be bought or something. I forget exactly what it is, but it's the price of them goes down, and then however much it is to export across from them. But they're getting cheaper now because they're like, oh, people actually like our tiny trucks because these shit bricks of cars are now becoming too bloated for their own good.
I'm reading the chat.
One of my friends just dropped a weird song to me, so now I'm gonna send it to you guys. Here, enjoy. It's called Sauerkraut Secret.
Sounds scary. I will listen to that after. My brain can only... My little lizard brain can only handle so much audio at once.
Oh, I haven't even been listening to music the whole time, otherwise I'll, like, zone out and listen to the music instead of everybody here.
And you're like, hey, what's up? You know what I've recently been getting into? Slight music aside. Recently, I have discovered, like, slowed down genres on YouTube are very mixed bag sometimes, but recently I found the original Berserk OVA and even the new soundtrack by Susumu Hirasawa. Wow, that shit's good, actually.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
My favorite...
Berserk is good, actually. Shocking.
Well, no, yeah, I mean, Berserk obviously good, but, like, this soundtrack specifically, but, like, when you slow it down rather than in, like, the fervent heat of battle, you're like, oh, yeah, Earth, this is nice.
The OP for the Compulsive Gambler Kakegurui like anime sounds amazing when it's slowed down.
Okay,
What is
Net
it called?
Fisher is chiming in about the
I'll pull
tiny
it up,
trucks.
hang
25-year-old imports get reclassified into a category where they don't have to follow modern standards, which would otherwise ban them from the road.
That's what it was. Okay, I was trying to remember, like, what is the technicalities in with the...
Because then it's like a
25-year
classic car, so, like, obviously it's not gonna follow modern standards in the U.S.
That makes sense. Okay, thank you for eliminating that. Now I know.
I really need to hurry up and finish writing Glass Diamonds because I have like 10 pages left of Shards of Reflection.
Ooh, gotta get going. Congratulations.
Gotta hurry up and write that.
I cannot find this version of it, but I'll like pull it up and give it to you later on.
Bless.
You've both heard the Perception Check song, right, by Tom Cardy?
I think so, maybe.
I have not. No.
It's his D&D song. I will link it to you. I found it because someone linked me to a Baldur's Gate animation for it.
Oh wait, yes, I think you've shown me this then. Okay.
But the actual so the thing is the Baldur's Gate one cuts off half of the song because the bard uses vicious mockery, and so half of the song is just him mocking a guy from being short. Motherfucker's so short and nobody likes you. Like
God.
And it's like you're so short it prevents you from forming meaningful relationships. Net Fisher's like, I love his Human Centipede song. Yeah, I love Red Flags and the Human Centipede one.
I love the Human Centipede one.
Especially the animation. Like, the fact that he gets his songs animated, that's great.
Yeah, it's a nice little cherry on top of it. Yeah, that, and then also, when we were driving back up from Portland the past weekend, Jay made me remember, hey, Lemon Demon is good, actually. I should re-listen to Spirit Demon, because I kind of really have only listened to it in, like, small microcosms, and I'm like, damn, this is some nice, just silly sounds, but if you listen to them enough, they can somehow worm their way into your brain, where it's like, oh, I somehow remember this, even though I don't make it an executive goal.
I'm not as into Lemon Demon. I don't particularly enjoy them. But Corey always plays them when we drive up to Seattle for Emerald City. So I have listened to quite a bit of them. They're just not my cup of tea. Hi, I'm glad that you and Nero appreciated the Crazy Ex-Girlfriend songs that I played for you.
Oh, that's funny. I don't go to musicals often, not out of, like, a dislike for them. Somebody has to, like, set me actively in front of it for me to watch it. Like, but when I do, and it's good and enjoyable, it's always fun. So it's not that I don't like musicals. I don't. Like, I'd never seek it out of my own accord, you know.
Yeah. I love musicals where people get murdered. Those are all my favorite musicals. Like Little Shop of Horrors, A+. Great musical.
Wendy Williams voiced death to all of them.
But yeah, I would love to sing the I Hate Everything But You song in karaoke.
That would be I would love to see that.
Why is designing outfits so difficult?
Fashion is its own art form.
Fashion is hard. I thought that it would be, like, easy to come up with outfits for, like, fictional characters.
No, that's
so much easier than coming up with outfits for myself. Nah, still hard.
No, that is why, before each, story, I, like, sit down and make different outfits for the characters. Like, before doing Murky Water, I made several outfit designs for Connor. Maria's in her uniform the whole time, so I could cheat that way. But I have to make some
Maria doesn't like to dress up.
I have to make some outfits for Rebecca. Rebecca's hard. Because I have to make them look good, but also they have to be easy for her to remove. Because that's her number one priority. Can I take this off quickly?
Just can't decide what I want these to be.
It is almost 9 for Hye and I.
Whoa.
Which means it's almost midnight for Sylphy. So we should probably call it.
I'll be down for calling it an evening here. Had a lovely old time with everybody.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for watching the show. And joining us when Spike isn't here. I know that everyone comes for Spike. But we appreciate that you came for us as well.
Indeed.
I'm Kel. I make comics about gay werewolves in the future that you can read at kelmcdonald.com. Also, you should check out all of Iron Circus's books. Right now, there is a backer kit going on for Iron Circus's first games. It's called Indiepocalypse in Iron Circus. And in it you can get 6 different games made by cartoonists and programmers that were paired together by Iron Circus and Indiepocalypse. One of those games is by me. It is called Teething, and you are a single parent who has to prep your basement for your werewolf child before the full moon. I also think my game is the only one that is playable on Mac at the moment. But all of them are playable on Windows. And so go ahead and check that out. Grab yourself some fun games. Hye, Sylphy, where can people find you?
You can find me both on Blue Sky and on Twitter. Blue Sky, I am literally just Sylphy. Twitter, also Sylphy, but with an underscore right in the dead center. I'm mostly posting on Iron Circus stuff, so I'm not drawing a lot, but we'll eventually get back to that.
Hi.
I am Hye once again. You won't find me online. I'm currently on a hiatus from online. But if you know me, hi, nice to see you, and nice to stop by. I'm gonna go scamper under my rock back again. I will get on social media eventually when the waters subside and I am able to poke my head up and look upon the online sphere and be like, yes, I want to put brain cells back into this. But for now, my domain is my domain is I live in a book. You open it up, there's a flat insert in there. Oops.
All right. Thanks again, everybody. Also, you should all follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/kelmcdonald. I draw Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And on Sunday nights, I'm playing Baldur's Gate. So you should come join me. My beautiful tiefling, who is going to murder so many people. Have a good one. Later.